A mysterious carriage, pulled by 4 spectral steeds, thunders through the ruined city streets. It leads a second larger wagon, a mobile prison cell, through the desolate landscape. Inside the cage, a blonde woman sits with stoic resolve, surrounded by guards and fellow captives. She believes her sacrifice is a necessary one, hoping her brother will survive this ordeal. But her brother, watching from the shadows, seethes with a furious refusal to accept her fate. He explodes from his hiding spot, launching a desperate attack to halt the convoy and free his sister. His sister's calm facade breaks, a look of fond exasperation showing she knew he'd never abandon her. The guards immediately turn their weapons on the prisoners, using the sister as a hostage. Panic grips the sister as she screams at her captors, her brother's life now on the line. A cloaked figure intervenes, holding a glowing artifact, while the sister reminds them of a promise to keep her brother safe. The masked figure coolly confirms he remembers the promise, his duty already clear. Unaware, the brother continues his desperate charge, vowing to save his sister at any cost. The cloaked man intercepts the boy in a flash, effortlessly halting his reckless assault. A single, overwhelming blow sends the brother reeling, the power difference made painfully obvious. The boy collapses to the ground, utterly defeated, as his opponent dismisses his strengthless courage. He trembles with rage and humiliation, crushed by the weight of his own powerlessness. From her cage, his sister screams in anguish, begging him to stay down and save himself. The masked man tosses an artifact to the ground, revealing it's an awakening stone his sister sacrificed everything for. He turns away dismissively, claiming that even with this power, the boy will amount to nothing. But as the boy stares at the stone, the taunts only fuel a burning resolve to prove everyone wrong. He reaches out in a final, desperate plea, begging them not to take his sister away. The boy jolts awake in a cold sweat, the traumatic memory playing out as a recurring nightmare. He clutches his head in anguish, revealing it's been 3 long years since his sister was captured. The image of his powerful, masked adversary is burned into his mind, a constant reminder of his own weakness. This memory fuels his singular obsession. He must become stronger to have any chance of finding her. His moment of reflection is shattered as his door is violently kicked open. The local vice manager and his thugs enter, mockingly demanding a residence fee he's already paid. The boy stands defiantly, angrily telling them he has no more money to give. With a smug smirk, the manager dismisses his pleas and orders his men to search the house. The 2 thugs immediately grab the boy, restraining him while they prepare to ransack his home. Sometime later, the boy is left beaten and bruised, but his eyes burn with cold defiance. The manager gloats over the money they found, mocking the boy for taking a beating for nothing. Unfazed, the boy states he's grown numb to their abuse, fully aware of their true intentions. He knows their constant harassment isn't just about money, as he instinctively guards something hidden under his shirt. Suddenly, one of the thugs lunges forward, violently yanking at the boy's collar. The goon's hand closes around a hidden necklace, tearing it from the boy's grasp. The stolen item is revealed to be the very awakening stone he's kept hidden all this time. The precious artifact clatters onto the wooden floor, now dangerously out of his reach. It becomes clear that the thugs were never after money. Their real target was the stone. He reveals he spent the last 3 years secretly investigating this very artifact. He reveals his investigation yielded no clues about his sister's whereabouts. His only lead remains the enigmatic masked man who took her away. All his hopes now rest on the mysterious awakening stone in his hand. His research confirmed that at 16 he can use it to unlock his own innate power. These powers, or seals, are divided into tiers, with some being far stronger than others. Unlocking a seal transforms a person, granting them extraordinary abilities. This transformation marks the birth of a powerful new being known as an Awakened. He understands the immense value of the stone his sister sacrificed everything to give him. As fate would have it, today is his 16th birthday, and he makes a solemn wish to find her. Without hesitation, he pours his will into the artifact, triggering the long-awaited seal awakening. The stone bestows upon him a legendary power, the Book of Endless Evolution, a one-of-a-kind diamond seal. He can't believe his luck. This unique power means he's the only person in the world to possess it. He immediately compares his potential to the local bullies, realizing he could awaken 8 seals by the time he reaches the manager's level. The only problem is he doesn't know how to level up, so he decides to seek advice from a friend who has already awakened. He heads to the settlement's farmlands, a place born from a past cataclysm that warped the world's ecosystem. He observes the harsh reality of their survival, where a corrupt manager hoards the majority of the harvest as a tribute. This system ensures the manager always gets his share, leaving the common folk to starve during lean times. Suddenly, a smug voice breaks his train of thought as a friend approaches him with a glass of wine. His friend Liu Ziye playfully teases him for being lost in thought, snapping him back to reality. This is his best friend, a carefree individual from a well-off family whose current obsession is a peculiar romance novel. The boy internally scoffs at the questionable beverage his friend is so proudly calling red wine. Liu Ziye astutely guesses his friend has awakened, remarking that newfound power is impossible to hide. Cutting straight to the point, the boy asks the crucial question: how does an awakened level up? His friend explains the only way to grow stronger is by entering dimensional dungeons to hunt monsters. But these dungeons are controlled by powerful factions who charge an exorbitant fee just for entry. He adds that a staggering 70% of any loot obtained inside must be surrendered to the gatekeepers. Liu Ziye sighs dramatically, lamenting the corrupt system that makes his heart ache for their world. The boy grimly concludes that the dungeons sound even more dangerous than their already harsh reality. His friend confirms the brutal truth. For every 10 who enter, 9 perish, and the survivor is forever scarred. Their somber discussion is cut short as a large, pink-haired man approaches Liu Ziye with news. Liu Ziye casually asks the newcomer what business he has with him. The boy's eyes narrow, recognizing the man as the manager's top lackey who only ever brings trouble. The enforcer reveals the boss is mercifully allowing Liu Ziye to enter the dungeon without an admission fee. He adds a malicious condition: all supplies gathered inside must be surrendered to the settlement. Liu Ziye is visibly shocked by the outrageous terms of this supposed offer. The boy steps forward, angrily accusing them of planning to keep the loot for themselves. The enforcer scoffs at the boy's defiance, taunting him for wanting to fight despite not being awakened. Liu Ziye quickly intervenes, placing a calming hand on his friend's shoulder and urging him not to be impulsive. He reassures the boy with a confident smile, promising he is strong enough to survive the trip and return safely. Turning to the thugs, Liu Ziye cheerfully accepts the mission, dismissing his friend's outburst as a misunderstanding. He watches them go, knowing it's a terrible idea to reveal his seal in this place. But his loyalty to his friend and his own lack of funds forces his hand. With a defiant glare, he announces he's joining the expedition, daring them to refuse. His friend turns back, completely stunned by the sudden intervention. Even the enforcer is taken aback, his confident demeanor momentarily faltering. The thug's surprise quickly turns to mockery, pointing out that unawakened weaklings aren't allowed. But the boy calmly shatters their assumptions, revealing he too is now an awakened. With his entry granted, the scene shifts to the ominous interior of the dungeon, a twisted and dangerous forest. The entrance to the white-level dungeon is a swirling vortex, guarded by a small, fortified encampment. The enforcer smugly announces their arrival to the camp guards, callously referring to the two friends as new mules. The enforcer sneers, referring to the two friends as nothing more than domesticated animals. A camp guard laughs, suggesting the two skinny mules need to be broken in first. The boy's eyes narrow with resolve, vowing to make the guard pay 100 times over if they survive. His friend overhears and cheerfully agrees, promising to join him in delivering the punishment. The guard is stunned by their arrogance, his face twisting in anger at their defiance. The enforcer impatiently orders them to get a move on, gesturing towards the swirling dungeon portal. Liu Ziye expresses his heartfelt gratitude, but the boy curtly tells him to focus on the mission. As they step through the portal, a flash of purple energy hints at the unseen dangers lurking within. The scene cuts away, revealing the enforcer's frustration that his target was so good at hiding his prize. He finally admits his true goal: the awakening stone he'd been searching the boy's house for over 3 long years. The enforcer's thugs worry about the boy's newfound power, recalling their cruel treatment of him. But their boss scoffs at their fears, confident the boy won't survive the dungeon anyway. He boasts about his own strength, revealing he possesses a formidable gold-tier seal. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, the two friends stand in a menacing forest surrounded by a strange energy. Liu Ziye recalls a grim warning, describing the dungeon as a literal hell on earth. He explains that the dungeon's atmosphere is lethal, slowly draining the life from anyone who lingers. Realizing the urgency, the boy confirms their only path to power is by hunting monsters. Their conversation is cut short by a sudden, unseen threat moving swiftly through the trees. Liu Xie explains the dungeon has multiple entrances, meaning they aren't the only ones inside. The enforcer's true scheme is revealed. He's using them as fodder to compete with other teams for the dungeon's loot. The boy grimly realizes they're just pawns, disposable tools for the powerful to snatch supplies. His friend turns to him, questioning why he would willingly walk into such a dangerous trap. He bluntly asks if his friend has a death wish as they venture deeper into the treacherous woods. The boy clenches his fist, knowing that without taking risks, he'll never challenge the powerful figures who rule their lives. Liu Xie is shocked by his friend's ambition, questioning his plan to fight such high-level opponents. He reminds his friend of the constant exploitation they suffer, fueling a shared desire for vengeance. A wide grin spreads across Liu Xie's face, confirming he knew his friend's true nature all along. He then reveals a shocking secret. His family is secretly building an army to overthrow their corrupt leaders. The boy is stunned by the revelation, realizing his friend's family is planning a full-blown rebellion. Liu Xie then recalls a painful memory, how the manager's cruelty led to the death of his own grandmother. He explains his family watched his grandmother suffer for weeks, a tragedy that sparked their desire for revolution. With their goals aligned, Liu Xie formally declares the boy is no longer just a friend. He looks his friend in the eye, proudly calling him a true comrade in arms. The boy confesses his own selfish goal is to eventually leave and rescue his sister. Liu Xie laughs it off, revealing his own dream is to marry his love once their rebellion succeeds. The boy smirks, reminding his friend that any future plans depend entirely on surviving this dungeon first. Their conversation is interrupted by a distant scream, forcing them to take cover and investigate. Peeking through the foliage, they discover a monstrous, decaying wolf feasting on its latest victim. The boy spots a glowing red core in the beast's chest, identifying it as a potential weak point that feels strangely familiar. He realizes with a jolt that the core radiates the exact same energy as his awakening stone, suggesting the monster is also an awakened being. Liu Xie is impressed by his friend's composure, internally praising his admirable courage. The two watch the beast wander off, assuming it's now safe to proceed. Liu Xie is sickened by the brutal scene, but the boy calmly kneels to inspect the victim's remains. His friend watches in horror as the boy nonchalantly picks up a sharpened bone from the corpse. Liu Xie is utterly aghast, his face a mask of pure shock at his friend's morbid curiosity. He calmly dismisses his friend's shock, revealing he once hid his stone inside a mutant dog to keep it safe. Wiping his new weapon clean, he coolly assesses it as a fine knife made from bone, but his friend's panic flares again as he frantically warns that the beast is back. The vicious wolf emerges once more, its glowing eyes locking onto them with predatory intent. But the boy reveals he anticipated this, explaining he deliberately retrieved the weapon to lure the cunning beast into a fight. Liu Xie anxiously asks if his friend can handle the beast, but the boy is already poised for battle. With a confident smirk, the boy tells his friend to trust him and get ready to act. He lunges forward, recalling his sister's old advice that the best defense is a swift offense. He fearlessly charges the monstrous wolf, closing the distance in a blur of motion. Remembering the hunting lessons from his childhood, he leaps onto the beast's back, aiming for its core. The wolf unleashes its bronze seal, a bloodthirsty power meant to increase its speed. But the boy is shocked to find the ability has boosted his own speed instead. Seizing the opportunity, Liu Xie unleashes a powerful glowing projectile from his slingshot. The shot lands a direct hit, staggering the massive wolf and creating an opening. Liu Xie desperately yells for his friend to finish it now while the beast is stunned. With a look of fierce concentration, the boy confirms he understands the opportunity. He drives the bone knife deep into the beast's chest, aiming directly for its glowing core. The weapon pierces the core, unleashing a violent burst of red energy as the wolf recoils in agony. He roars with effort, his eyes glowing red as he channels all his strength into the final blow. With both hands, he forces the blade deeper, determined to shatter the monster's source of power. His face contorts with exertion, refusing to yield as the beast's energy lashes out around him. In a final, desperate push, he's completely enveloped by the core's energy as he strikes the fatal blow. But as the wolf's life fades, its immense weight begins to topple, threatening to crush him. Liu Xie screams his friend's name in terror, watching helplessly as the massive creature collapses. The monstrous wolf crashes to the ground, leaving Liu Xie to fear the worst for his trapped comrade. Liu Xie cries out his friend's name, his face etched with fear and disbelief. Just as hope seems lost, the massive wolf's body gives a final shuddering twitch. But from beneath the beast, the boy emerges, reassuring his friend that he's not so easily defeated. A system notification floods his vision, announcing he has reached level 2 and his unique seal is activating. His Book of Endless Evolution presents him with 3 new seals to choose from, 2 gold and 1 bronze. The world seems to stand still as he processes this incredible new power. He marvels at the power of his diamond seal, which grants him new abilities with every level up. He weighs his options, noting the superior gold-tier seals, but wishing he had more information to make a choice. His attention is drawn to the solo development seal, intrigued by the strange I suffix. Making his decision, a notification confirms he has acquired the mysterious new gold seal. The new seal's description reveals its incredible power, offering massive attribute boosts and hinting at future upgrades. He smirks, realizing this upgradable seal is the key to his rapid growth. His friend snaps him out of it, urging him to harvest the spoils before more monsters arrive. The boy asks for help with the carcass, but his friend recoils in disgust. Liu Zie insists the spoils belong to the victor, admitting he's too squeamish for such work. He reflects on his friend's sheltered life, a stark contrast to his own harsh upbringing. He dismisses the worthless parts of the wolf and offers his friend the valuable crystals he's harvested. Liu Zie is stunned by the generous offer, questioning why he'd give away the most valuable loot. He explains it's his contribution to their shared cause, knowing his friend's family needs the funds. He gives credit where it's due, admitting his friend's support was crucial for the victory. Liu Zie accepts the crystals, promising to inform his father of his friend's generous contribution. He then raises a crucial point. They'll lose all their hard-earned loot if they exit through the guarded entrance. The boy confirms their plan is to fight their way out, making it vital to level up inside the dungeon first. Liu Zie reveals his father anticipated this move, and their faction is ready to act on this provocation. As they venture deeper, the boy warns that wolves rarely hunt alone, suggesting a pack is nearby. Liu Zie suddenly stops him, insisting they clarify a few things before they continue hunting together. The boy looks back, questioning what his friend needs to discuss so urgently. His friend reveals he's also close to leveling up and decides to share the details of his own seal. He explains his gold seal boosts his attributes and grants him a weakness detection ability. This is how he instantly identified the wolf's eyes as its critical weak point during their fight. The boy hesitates, wondering if revealing his unique diamond seal would change their friendship. He recalls their long history, questioning if their bond could withstand the jealousy his power might create. He decides to conceal his true power, describing a fabricated gold seal with similar but lesser abilities. He justifies the half-truth to himself, as it is indeed his first acquired seal. Liu Zie breathes a sigh of relief, admitting he was worried his friend's power would outclass his own. Thrilled they're on equal footing, he enthusiastically declares them true brothers in arms. With their bond reaffirmed, they head deeper into the forest, united in their hunt. The boy silently apologizes for his deception, vowing to reveal the full truth one day. Their teamwork is put to the test as they engage another monstrous wolf in a coordinated attack. Liu Zie provides crucial backup, aiming his energy-charged slingshot to support his friend's frontal assault. He skillfully dodges the beast's frenzied assault, weaving between its razor-sharp bone claws. With the beast staggered, he prepares to drive his bone knife into its glowing core. Sometime later, with the wolf defeated, Liu Zie asks if his friend wants to keep any of the scavenged materials. He declines the offer, noting the practical value of the bones and skin for crafting or trade. His friend proudly announces he's hit level 2, but is stunned to learn the boy has already reached level 4. Liu Zie grabs him in shock, and the boy calmly explains the experience gap is because he's the one landing the final blows. His friend crumples in defeat, admitting his fear of blood is the real reason he can't get his hands dirty. Liu Zie instantly recovers, enthusiastically claiming he loves playing a supportive role, much to the boy's skepticism. He internally reveals the true reason for his rapid growth, a second diamond seal that dramatically boosts his experience gain. Comparing his 2 unique abilities, he realizes that even seals of the same diamond tier can have vastly different levels of power. A desperate cry for help suddenly echoes through the dark, menacing forest. Liu Zie stops in his tracks, realizing they've stumbled into someone else's trouble. The boy tries to steer them away, sensibly suggesting they avoid any unnecessary conflict. But Liu Zie is immediately smitten by the voice, imagining a beautiful woman in need of a hero. His friend coldly dismisses the notion, focused only on his urgent need to level up. He knows they're on a tight schedule, as the dungeon's lethal atmosphere slowly saps their strength. Their argument is cut short by a man's menacing voice, threatening a woman with harsh consequences for her defiance. Liu Zi's interest is instantly reignited, giving his friend a mischievous glance. The boy sighs in defeat, reluctantly agreeing that a quick peek won't derail their plans. They find a woman confronting a shadowy figure, accusing him of orchestrating the entire encounter. The man smirks, revealing his hand crackling with a sinister purple energy. He explains his seal is a potent toxin, which has already neutralized her guards. The woman stands her ground as he reveals his true goal, marrying into her powerful Guan family. His eyes gleam with a manic obsession, convinced they are destined to be together. From their hiding spot, Liu Zie whispers about the man's bold plan to gain power through marriage. He prods his friend for a reaction, eager to see what he thinks of the unfolding drama. The boy coldly assesses the situation, realizing the chaos could present an opportunity for them. Liu Zie grins mischievously, completely misreading his friend's ruthless intentions. But the boy reveals his true plan, to let them fight it out and scavenge the remains. Losing his patience, the man lunges forward, deciding to take the woman by force. But the woman refuses to be a pawn in his scheme, her eyes hardening with defiance. She retaliates, throwing a cloud of mysterious powder directly into his face. The man recoils in surprise, momentarily stunned by her unexpected counterattack. Knowing the powder won't hold him for long, she makes a desperate dash for freedom. But her escape is cut short as the man reveals her paralyzing agent is useless against him. With a cruel grin, he warns her that her resistance will only earn his wrath. He unleashes his toxic power, striking her with a debilitating blow that leaves her reeling. The woman collapses to the ground, completely overwhelmed by his superior strength. He gloats over his victory, mocking her failed attempt to disable him as he closes in. From the bushes, the boy explains the brutal reality of the level gap, where each rank grants a massive power boost. Liu Zie asks how he knew, and the boy explains he simply calculated the power difference from their previous wolf fights. His friend is impressed, finally realizing the boy's seemingly simple nature hides a sharp tactical mind. Meanwhile, the villain closes in on the fallen woman, warning her that his poison will make her completely helpless. She glares back with pure hatred, vowing that her powerful family will hunt him down for this transgression. He scoffs at her threat, revealing he never truly intended to join her family. His true twisted goal was simply to ruin her reputation and bring shame upon her entire clan. He leans in for the final act of his cruel plan, confident in his victory. But in a desperate act of defiance, the woman inflicts a wound upon herself to create an opening. Using the element of surprise, she twists around and plunges the blade deep into her attacker's neck. The man reels back in agony, his triumphant gloating cut short by a scream of pain. The villain roars in fury, threatening to end her life despite his grievous wound. She reveals the blade is coated in poison, a final gambit to protect her family's reputation even in death. As he raises his weapon for a final retaliatory strike, a blue blur rushes in from the background. The boy intercepts the attack with a powerful kick, saving the woman at the last second. He lands with cold confidence, his intervention decisive and swift. The woman stares in shock, completely bewildered by the sudden appearance of her unlikely savior. In a flash of coordinated action, the two friends neutralize the villain, leaving him incapacitated on the ground. Liu Zie approaches with a grin, teasing his friend for being unable to resist playing the hero. The boy glances at the rescued woman, cryptically stating that he had his reasons for getting involved. His explanation is cut short as the woman suddenly collapses, leaving Liu Zie stunned by the turn of events. The boy checks her pulse, confirming she's only fainted from the combined effects of stress and poison. Liu Zie grimly points out that without an antidote, her survival is still very much in question. But the boy refuses to let her die, seeing her as a crucial asset for their family's planned rebellion. His friend is baffled, reminding him they have no way to counteract the powerful toxin. With a confident glance, the boy reveals their captive villain holds the key to the antidote. The defeated man lies bound and unconscious, his fate now entirely in their hands. Liu Zie worries about retaliation from the man's powerful allies if they take things too far. The boy calmly explains the villain is now a liability to his faction and has already been discarded. He reasons that any pursuers will be after the noblewoman, not them. Liu Zie's fears vanish as he proudly agrees with his friend's ruthless but sound logic. The boy watches the scene unfold, his expression completely unfazed by the chaos. Their captive groans, slowly regaining consciousness with a splitting headache. His eyes snap open to find two menacing grins staring down at him. Pinned to the ground, the villain furiously demands to know who dared to attack him. He struggles futilely, threatening to tear them to pieces if they don't let him go. Liu Xie asks for a plan, and the boy suggests they treat their captive like a wild beast. He leans in with a chilling warning, comparing the man's threats to the final cries of a hunted animal. After some harsh encouragement, the villain confesses his blood is the antidote, pleading for his life. The boy coldly informs him that his survival now hinges on the truth of his words. He carefully draws a bit of blood for the antidote, ignoring the villain's pathetic cries for mercy. The boy makes a precise cut on the villain's wrist, drawing a pained cry from his captive. He administers the blood, letting a single drop fall onto the unconscious woman's lips as a makeshift antidote. The villain struggles, pleading that they've taken enough blood as the boy holds him firmly in place. He then orders his friend to bandage the cut, warning that the scent will attract unwanted attention. Liu Xie gleefully tightens the makeshift bandage, clearly enjoying the villain's terrified expression. His friend observes the scene, noting the boy's cold focus and lack of interest in their rescued noblewoman. He then proudly daydreams of his own love, declaring his unwavering loyalty to her. Their attention is drawn back to the woman as she groans, a sign that the antidote is taking effect. The boy calmly informs their captive that the cure is working, his fate still hanging in the balance. The woman's eyes flutter open, now glowing with a strange purple light as she slowly regains awareness. The villain desperately proclaims his honesty, relieved that his blood worked as the antidote. The noblewoman awakens, looking up at her rescuer and asking if he was responsible for her rescue. The boy confirms he intervened for his own reasons, revealing he knows she is a person of high status. She confirms her identity as a member of the powerful Guan family, seeing no reason to hide it any longer. Meanwhile, their captive seethes with rage, furious that his elaborate scheme was foiled by two unknowns. The boy then asks a seemingly simple question, inquiring if her father is a settlement manager. His question confuses her, as she wonders if he's truly ignorant of her family's immense power. He presses for a direct answer, his gaze intense and unwavering. She concedes his point, explaining her family governs hundreds of large settlements, making them managers on a grand scale. With her status confirmed, he reveals his true motive, asking for a single favor from her powerful father in exchange for her life. The noblewoman cautiously asks him to state his price, warning that her life may not be worth what he has in mind. He reveals his bold ambition to overthrow his settlement's corrupt manager with her family's help. She's left speechless, shocked by the seemingly small scale of his audacious request. He sweetens the deal, offering himself and his friend as her personal bodyguards for the rest of their time in the dungeon. The woman is taken aback by his proposal, questioning their ability to protect her. He adds another incentive, promising that all future loot will belong to her if she accepts their alliance. She glances towards Liu Xie, silently seeking his input on this unexpected partnership. Liu Xie grins and defers to his friend, making it clear he fully supports the plan. She assesses the boy, impressed by a calm decisiveness that far exceeds his apparent age. A small smile plays on her lips as she decides that despite his rashness, joining forces with him might be an interesting gamble. She extends her hand with a confident smile, introducing herself as Guanju and sealing their deal. They shake hands firmly, their new alliance forged in the heart of the dangerous dungeon. He introduces himself as Zhao Cheng and gestures to his friend Liu Xie, making the introductions official. Their captive watches in disgust, enraged that a noblewoman would make physical contact with a commoner. He internally fumes, declaring her unworthy of his own master and revealing a deeper allegiance. Guanju looks to Zhao Cheng, asking what they should do with their now useless captive. A swift blow from Liu Xie shuts the villain up, leaving him stunned and speechless. Zhao Cheng calmly hands the decision over to her, offering the villain as a gift to his new partner. The villain immediately panics, desperately pleading for mercy and claiming he was deceived. With a cold and resolute expression, Guanju rises to her feet, ready to pass her own judgment. She notices a cloak draped over her, wondering if Zhao Cheng was the one who showed her this small kindness. She glances at him, realizing his rough exterior hides a surprisingly attentive nature. Her hand closes around the hilt of the poison-laced dagger, her decision made. With the villain's blood now the antidote, she understands she can use his own weapon to deliver final justice. She walks towards him, clarifying her only intention was to draw blood, not to end his life with poison. The villain grovels, desperately pleading for forgiveness and promising to disappear forever. Guanju raises the blade, her expression cold and unyielding, a stark contrast to a romantic heroine. Liu Jie watches, mistakenly believing her to be a soft-hearted damsel who will show mercy. But she shatters his expectations, delivering a swift and final blow without a moment's hesitation. With the matter settled, Zhao Cheng turns away, calmly announcing it's time for them to leave. Liu Jie approaches his friend, clearly confused by the outcome of the confrontation. He expresses his disbelief, thinking Guanju was too soft-hearted to deliver a final blow. But Zhao Cheng reminds him that in this dungeon, the scent of fresh blood attracts unwanted attention. He explains her decision wasn't mercy, but a far more calculated and cruel fate for their enemy. Liu Jie shudders, finally understanding the noblewoman's truly ruthless nature. Left behind, their captive struggles futilely against the ropes binding him. He seethes with rage, vowing to make Guanju suffer a horrible fate for her actions. His vengeful threats are cut short as he senses a new danger approaching. Two monstrous wolves with glowing red eyes emerge from the darkness, drawn by the scent of blood. The villain's face twists in terror as he realizes his grim fate has arrived far sooner than expected. The villain's final moments are filled with desperate, terrified pleas as the wolves close in. As they walk away, Guanju casually remarks on the blood-curdling scream echoing from behind them. Liu Jie shivers, admitting the sound of their captive's demise is truly miserable. Xiao Seng cheetahs Kanju for her impulsiveness, pointing out they lost a valuable source of information. She smiles, touched by his concern, and agrees that finding the mastermind is her top priority. Guanju confidently reveals she has a very short list of enemies and a strong suspect in mind. He reminds her that their deal works both ways, but insists the captive would have been a useful witness. Zhao Cheng explains that a living witness could have complicated things if her enemy is as powerful as she implies. He reflects on the irony that even someone with her status isn't immune to such dangerous schemes. Their discussion is violently cut short as a massive, fanged creature ambushes them from the shadows. He immediately activates his new seal, granting him a temporary but massive boost to his agility. The monstrous wolf lunges forward, its eyes burning with a furious, predatory light. With a burst of speed, Zhao Cheng snatches Guanju out of harm's way, narrowly avoiding the beast's attack. His eyes narrow as he takes in the sheer scale of their new opponent, realizing this is no ordinary monster. The creature is revealed to be the level 5 Netherworld Bone Wolf King, a quasi-boss of the dungeon. Liu Jie's face drains of color as he recognizes the alpha of the pack they've been hunting. An overhead view reveals their grim situation. They are completely surrounded by the vengeful wolf pack. Liu Jie panics, understanding the Wolf King has come to avenge its fallen pack members. Zhao Cheng calmly accepts their fate, acknowledging that their hunting spree has finally caught up to them. His friend frantically tells him to stop stating the obvious and come up with an escape plan. Zhao Cheng calmly issues orders, telling his friend to protect Guanju while he handles the pack. Liu Jie panics, questioning how a level 2 like him can possibly defend against the Wolf King and its minions. Unfazed, Zhao Cheng declares his intention to take on the powerful Wolf King himself. A system window confirms his confidence, revealing he's already at level 4 with plenty of resources. His status screen reveals a formidable arsenal of seals, including 2 diamond-tier abilities. He reveals his true motive. He needed the Wolf King's massive experience points to level up further. Zhao Cheng stares down the beast, seeing it not as a threat but as a stepping stone on his path to power. Just as he prepares to attack, Guanju calls out, stopping him in his tracks. She offers him a proper weapon, noting his makeshift bone knife is no longer suitable for the fight ahead. From her sheath, she draws a beautifully crafted jewel-encrusted dagger, a clear upgrade for her new ally. Guanju humbly offers her blade, admitting it's a modest weapon but far superior to his current one. Liu Jie panics, comically flustered about where he's supposed to keep the weapon she just produced. Zhao Cheng ignores his friend's panic, accepting the new dagger with a confident smirk. Wasting no time, the massive Wolf King lets out a terrifying roar, ready to attack the trio. Zhao Cheng launches himself into the air, using the beast's own body as a ramp to get closer to its head. He quickly realizes that brute strength won't be enough to take down a monster of this size. He nimbly dodges a powerful bite, weaving around the beast's furious attempts to throw him off. His focus narrows to a single objective: find and destroy the blood-red core that powers the beast. With his new dagger in hand, he prepares to plunge it into the monster's vital point. He sees his opening, realizing a direct strike into the beast's glowing maw is his only path to victory. He clings to the beast's back, his eyes locked on his target with fierce determination. The Wolf King snaps its jaws, but he's already gone, realizing the pack is coordinating its attacks. He understands their initial assault was a calculated feint, a sign of their surprising intelligence. But he remains unimpressed, confident that no beast's cunning can outmatch a human's. As the alpha lunges again, Zhao Cheng stands his ground, a plan already forming in his mind. A confident smirk reveals his true intention. The Wolf King was never his primary target. He activates his seal and pivots, instantly targeting a weaker wolf and hijacking its speed boost. With a chilling grin, he declares that overwhelming power makes any strategy obsolete. In a blur of motion, he slices through the smaller wolf, leaving it defeated in his wake. Liu Jie shouts his friend's name in disbelief, stunned by the ruthless efficiency of the attack. Liu Jie's eyes glow with focus as he confirms he's locked onto the target's weakness. His gold seal activates, revealing its weakness detection ability, which can pinpoint an enemy's vulnerability. Surrounded by the pack, Zhao Cheng becomes a whirlwind of motion, expertly evading their coordinated assault. He fearlessly meets a lunging wolf head-on, his daggers flashing in a deadly arc. He dances through the chaos, turning the wolves' numbers against them with precise, brutal efficiency. A powerful kick sends one of the beasts flying, showcasing his surprising strength. A confident smirk appears on his face, revealing he and his friend are perfectly in sync in the heat of battle. Guanju watches Liu Jie provide cover fire, admitting she'd underestimated his role as a mere follower. With a smug grin, Liu Jie proudly proves her initial assessment of him was completely wrong. The Wolf King unleashes its own power, activating a bronze seal that boosts its speed for the coming attack. With a determined glare, Zhao Cheng announces it's time to end this fight, lunging forward. The Wolf King lets out a furious roar, charging directly at the trio with murderous intent. Liu Jie panics, realizing he and Guanju are being swarmed by the rest of the vengeful pack. Zhao Cheng narrowly evades the Wolf King's massive jaws, looking for an opening to counter. He yells a desperate warning for his friends to brace themselves for the impending clash. Zhao Cheng channels his energy, his dagger glowing with a golden aura as he prepares his strongest attack. With grim determination, he resolves to risk everything on a single all-out strike. A system notification reveals his new bronze seal, Fire Enchantment, which coats his weapon in hellfire. He leaps forward, his daggers now wreathed in fiery energy as he aims for the beast. Liu Jie and Guanju shield themselves as the fiery attack engulfs the massive Wolf King. The Wolf King is consumed by a raging inferno, its howls silenced by the overwhelming flames. His fiery attack scorches the earth, leaving a trail of utter devastation in its wake. Liu Jie and Guanju can only stare in utter disbelief, completely stunned by his immense power. A massive pillar of fire erupts from the battlefield, a testament to the devastating force he just unleashed. Guanju internally notes that even her family's elite warriors couldn't replicate this feat below level 8. She struggles to comprehend his strength, knowing the dungeon's level cap should make this impossible. Her gaze sharpens with curiosity, desperately trying to gauge his true power level. Liu Jie reveals his friend as only level 4, a fact that only deepens her confusion. She watches him, marveling at how a mere level 4 can wield the power of a level 8 awakened. Guanju deduces his fire enchantment must be his first seal, but she's baffled by its incredible strength. Guanju observes him with newfound respect, realizing he might be the exceptional talent her family has been searching for. Zhao Cheng stands victorious, a look of grim satisfaction on his face as the battle concludes. A system notification confirms his second diamond seal has activated, granting him a massive 75% experience boost. The experience gain instantly pushes him to level 5, and his Book of Endless Evolution offers him a choice of 3 new seals. He's presented with 3 bronze tier options: Headshot, Disaster, and Wolf Bloodthirst. He realizes that because he witnessed the wolf's ability, he has more information on it, making it a safer choice. Despite the known benefits of the speed boost, he decides to take a gamble on one of the unknown seals. He chooses the Headshot seal, which guarantees a powerful critical strike on his next attack. He smirks, recognizing this new ability as the perfect tool for delivering a decisive, fight-ending blow. With his new power secured, he turns his attention to the urgent task of harvesting the valuable spoils from the Wolf King's corpse. Guanju curiously asks about the practical uses for the scavenged wolf parts. He explains their value for crafting and trade, handing over the spoils to her as promised. She's stunned by his assessment, internally scoffing that such items are worthless to even her family's lowest servants. Recalling her father's wisdom, she realizes Zhao Cheng is a hidden genius, proving that talent can be found anywhere. Zhao Cheng notes the dungeon's draining energy is numbing his arm, while Liu Zie panics about the freezing cold. Driven by urgency, he declares they must hunt more monsters to gain experience before their time runs out. He walks with grim purpose, knowing that every level gained brings him closer to overthrowing his corrupt settlement manager. Guanju interrupts his charge, suggesting a more efficient way to gain experience than aimless hunting. He turns to her, intrigued by her claim of a better place to find powerful opponents. She reveals that every dungeon has a true boss, and defeating it will grant them an unparalleled amount of experience. She explains that defeating the boss yields incredible treasure, making the high risk worthwhile. Liu Zie is confused, arguing that the massive Wolf King they just defeated must have been the boss. Zhao Cheng clarifies that the true boss resides in a specific area and wouldn't have actively hunted them down. Liu Zie quickly backtracks, pretending he understood the logic, while Guanju observes their exchange with amusement. Zhao Cheng cuts to the chase, impatiently asking how they can find this boss before their time in the dungeon runs out. Guanju reveals she has a special item that can help them locate the boss in a low-level dungeon. Liu Zie whispers to his friend, convinced that Guanju is just trying to show off her knowledge and resources. He points out how casually she dismisses the dungeon's danger and wonders about the mysterious source of her items. Zhao Cheng reasons that her knowledge comes from her family's status and her ability to produce items is likely her seal's power. Liu Zie gives his friend a suspicious look, questioning why he's so quick to defend her and what his true motives might be. Guanju proudly reveals a special item, internally noting its high value is a secret she must keep. She presents a sense indicator, a special compass that can lead them directly to the dungeon boss. The compass glows with a faint energy, its needle ready to guide them through the treacherous dungeon. A system window confirms its function, a green tier item capable of pinpointing the boss's location. But Liu Zie interrupts, still demanding to know why his friend is suddenly so invested in their new ally. Following the compass, they arrive at a desolate clearing and find a massive, spiky beast sleeping soundly. Liu Zie stares in disbelief, barely able to comprehend that this monstrous creature is the dungeon's true boss. The beast is a gargantuan red boar, its formidable tusks and spiky hide hinting at its immense power. Its eyes snap open with a menacing glow as a system window identifies it as the level 10 rare spiked red devil. A final warning flashes explaining this rare beast guards the dungeon's treasure and its defeat will seal all exits. Zhao Cheng assesses the level 10 boss, realizing its two seals make it too powerful for them to handle alone. Guanju recalls her teacher's grim warning that dungeon bosses are a threat beyond any normal monster. A flashback reveals her mentor's lesson. Only a truly exceptional awakened can hope to defeat such a beast. Liu Zie grows frustrated, questioning why Guanju led them on a seemingly impossible mission. She turns to Zhao Cheng, admitting she brought them here because she believed he was that exceptional talent. Their debate is cut short as Zhao Cheng senses an approaching presence, forcing them to duck for cover. A new, heavily armed party arrives on the scene, their leader smugly declaring his good fortune. The leader gloats, revealing he's hunted this dungeon nearly 10 times just to find this specific boss. From the bushes, Liu Zie whispers to his friend, questioning the newcomer's blatant and foolish arrogance. But Zhao Cheng warns him not to be so quick to judge, pointing out the leader's rare and powerful firearm. Zhao Cheng recognizes the weapon's immense power, realizing it's far too strong for any non-awakened to wield. Guanju reveals these are ancient weapons, far superior to the imitations used today, and capable of leveling entire cities. Liu Zie is stunned by this history lesson, questioning how their advanced civilization could have fallen so far. Zhao Cheng theorizes that ancient seals were also stronger, remembering tales of awakened who could alter reality itself. The newcomers demonstrate their power, unleashing a massive, fiery explosion that rocks the clearing. Their leader signals the start of the assault, his expression one of grim determination. He opens fire, a stream of energy rounds striking the massive boar with explosive force. A system window reveals his bronze seal, which allows him to convert his strength into an endless supply of ammunition. With a crazed grin, the leader unleashes a relentless barrage, confident in his weapon's overwhelming power. But Zhao Cheng's attention is elsewhere, spotting a glowing treasure chest behind the distracted boss and forming a new plan. The newcomers unleash a relentless assault, but the massive boar easily deflects their attacks. Guanju glances at Zhao Cheng, asking if his plan is to let them fight it out and steal the prize. He feigns ignorance, confused by the idiom she used to describe his strategy. Liu Zie comically seizes the moment to lecture them, proudly explaining the concept of profiting from others' conflict. Zhao Cheng confirms their best bet is to let the two sides weaken each other before they snatch the treasure. But Guanju stops him, pointing out the dungeon's corrosive energy is dangerously spreading up his arm. She warns him of the lethal consequences and produces a special pill to counteract the effect. Liu Xie gratefully accepts, complaining that he's been suffering from the dungeon's effects as well. Zhao Cheng questions the pill's cost as Liu Xie realizes the items she's given them are worth a fortune. The sheer value of her generosity sends Liu Xie into a comical state of panic. Guanju casually dismisses the pill's value, teasing that it's common in her world but rare in his. Zhao Cheng accepts the pill, promising to repay the debt, while Liu Xie collapses in relief at the seemingly low cost. Guanju observes him with interest, noting his pride and refusal to be indebted to anyone. She internally reveals the pill's astronomical price, a secret she keeps to avoid his refusal. Back at the battle, the other party is scattered by the enraged boar, their assault proving completely ineffective. The massive beast thrashes wildly, its spiky hide becoming a deadly weapon against the unprepared hunters. The leader roars in fury, watching helplessly as his comrades are taken down by the monstrous boss. The boar unleashes a volley of sharp projectiles from its back, pinning down the remaining attackers. Despite their heavy firepower, a system window reveals they've barely scratched the boss's immense health pool. The enraged beast glares back, its health barely diminished, proving their ancient weapon is not enough to win this fight. A system window reveals the boss's bronze seal, which dramatically hardens its fur for 10 minutes. The leader's energy rounds spark uselessly against the beast's now impenetrable hide. He growls in frustration, realizing his powerful weapon is useless against the boss's defensive ability. The massive boar roars in defiance, completely unfazed by their full frontal assault. Unwilling to retreat, the leader vows to defeat the beast and then deal with the onlookers. He rallies his men, reminding them that they've faced far worse than a single monster. His loyal crew rushes forward, forming a protective line in front of their big brother. They prepare to activate their own seals, ready to create an opening for their leader's next attack. A system window confirms their plan, revealing their bronze seal grants a 15% defense boost. The entire team activates their iron wall seals in unison, forming a formidable defensive barrier. Zhao Cheng reconsiders his initial judgment, admitting the rival leader must be quite capable to command such loyalty, but his true focus remains on the treasure chest, his priority now shifting to cracking its lock. Guanju whispers her doubts about his lock-picking skills, but Liu Xie reassures her of his friend's past exploits. This sparks her curiosity, as she admits to never having ventured beyond the safety of her own settlement. Liu Xie confesses he's no different, rarely leaving and always sticking to the safest routes. He then shares a glimpse of Zhao Cheng's perspective, describing a world that is both decayed and vibrantly alive. Guanju is captivated by this paradox, pondering the strange beauty of a world both ruined and thriving. She turns her gaze to Zhao Cheng, asking him directly what kind of world he truly saw. Instead of answering, Zhao Cheng skillfully begins picking the chest's lock, his focus absolute. The lock clicks open, and he expresses surprise that its mechanism is identical to those from the outside world. With a confident grin, he wonders what kind of treasure is hidden inside the chest. But the sheer force of the ongoing battle nearly throws him off balance. The other party is completely overwhelmed as the beast unleashes its second powerful seal. A system window reveals its deadly combination of hardened fur and a fiery breath attack. Enraged and still powerful, the boss unleashes a wave of intense heat, its health barely dented. Its glowing red eyes suddenly lock onto Zhao Cheng, identifying a new enemy. The fiery beast turns its full murderous attention towards his hiding spot. Realizing he's been discovered, Zhao Cheng braces himself for the inevitable charge. He stands his ground as the monstrous boar thunders towards him with unstoppable force. A quick glance reveals the other party has been completely wiped out, leaving him to face the boss alone. The rival leader, despite his injuries, desperately warns Zhao Cheng to flee, knowing the beast is too powerful. Accepting his own demise, he urges the boy to escape, seeing his survival as a final defiant act. With his last ounce of strength, he points towards safety, sacrificing himself and his fallen crew. His men watch with pride, honoring their leader's final selfless act to save a stranger. The leader physically shoves Zhao Cheng away from the danger, determined to ensure his escape. He's consumed by the beast's fiery wrath, creating a tragic but crucial opening for the others. Pushed to safety, Zhao Cheng desperately calls out to Liu Xie, needing his friend's support. Refusing to abandon his friend, Liu Xie leaps into action, ready to join the impossible fight. A system window confirms his gold seal is active, granting him the ability to pinpoint the enemy's weakness. With his target locked, he shouts for Zhao Cheng to strike, ready to provide the critical support they need. Guided by his friend's call, Zhao Cheng lands a devastating blow on the massive beast's back. The boar roars in agony, its health dropping to 35% from the single well-placed strike. The rival leader watches in awe, stunned that a lone fighter could wound the boss so deeply. Enraged, the beast unleashes its second seal, converting its breath into a scorching heat wave. Zhao Cheng realizes a frontal assault is now suicidal, as the beast's fiery aura will incinerate him. He calmly analyzes the situation, noting the boss has now revealed both of its powerful seals. The boar charges, cleverly using its intense heat as both an offensive and defensive weapon. Its eyes lock onto Zhao Cheng, its spiky hide bristling as it prepares to finish him off. The wounded leader grins with renewed hope, placing all his faith in the mysterious young fighter. With a final, desperate roar, he urges Zhao Cheng to kill the beast and avenge his fallen comrades. He activates his gold seal, boosting one of his attributes by a massive 300% for a short time. Accepting the fallen leader's final wish, he prepares to unleash his full power. He then activates his bronze seal, enchanting his weapon with hellfire for extra damage. The enraged boar roars in defiance, its health now critically low. With all his offensive seals active, he commits everything to winning this final battle. He launches himself into the air, a fiery comet streaking towards the massive beast. He calls out to his friend, needing him to pinpoint the boss's final weakness. Liu Zie's seal locks onto the target, revealing a hidden weak point under the beast's left rib. Guided by his friend's call, he adjusts his trajectory, aiming for the newly exposed vulnerability. With perfect timing, he plunges his flaming dagger deep into the beast's weak spot, delivering a devastating blow. He grits his teeth, pushing through the intense heat to drive the blade deeper. A furious barrage of slashes carves into the monster's flesh with relentless speed. Liu Zie roars with encouragement, urging his friend to finish the fight. Guanju watches with bated breath, anxiously wondering if he can pull off this impossible feat. Even the fallen leader musters his last bit of strength to cheer on the young fighter. His eyes burn with raw power as he pushes himself beyond his limits for the final assault. He becomes a whirlwind of destruction, vowing not to stop until the beast is defeated. The boss's health plummets under the relentless assault, dropping to a critical level in seconds. With a final, powerful roar, he channels all his remaining energy into one last, decisive strike. The colossal beast finally collapses, consumed by the inferno as Zhao Cheng stands victorious upon its back. A system notification confirms his impossible victory over the level 10 dungeon boss. He stands triumphantly atop the colossal beast, the battle's toll evident in his exhaustion. His friends rush forward, their faces a mix of relief and disbelief at their hard-won success. Guanju's celebration turns to concern as she notices the severe burns covering his body. Both she and Liu Zie call out his name, their voices laced with worry for his condition. Zhao Cheng collapses onto the beast's corpse, telling them to scout the area while he recovers. A moment later, he sits up, a green aura mending his wounds as he assures them he's fine. His eyes glow with a strange energy, revealing the source of his rapid recovery is not natural. A system window announces the activation of another one of his powerful seals. His second diamond seal is revealed, the true source of his rapid growth, granting a massive 75% experience boost. The massive experience gain catapults him from level 5 all the way to level 7 in a single moment. His Book of Eternal Evolution activates, offering him a choice of powerful new seals. He's presented with the boss's defensive seal, the rival leader's ammo seal, and a mysterious gold tier option. He uses the Refresh Once ability, revealing a second, even more enticing set of potential seals. He dismisses the monster's defensive ability and the rival's ammo seal, which requires a weapon he doesn't have. His attention is drawn to the mysterious gold seal, its unknown potential far more tempting than the other options. Trusting his gut, he decides to gamble on the higher-tiered gold seal, despite its unknown effect. A system notification confirms his choice, officially adding the Refresh Once seal to his arsenal. The seal's incredible power is revealed. It can instantly reset the cooldowns on all his other abilities. A confident smirk spreads across his face as he realizes this new power will let him unleash his strongest attacks back-to-back. He faces a choice between 3 new seals, weighing the benefits of each potential power-up. Without hesitation, he selects the mysterious gold seal, Solo Development, drawn to its higher tier. A system notification officially confirms his acquisition of the powerful new gold seal. Its effects are revealed: a massive passive stat boost and an even greater temporary power surge. A confident smirk spreads across his face as he realizes the incredible potential of his new ability. Now at level 7, he clenches his fist, knowing he's just one step away from confronting his rival. The entire dungeon suddenly begins to tremble, catching his companions completely by surprise. Liu Xie panics at the tremor, but Guanju calmly explains the dungeon is collapsing now that its boss is dead. The wounded rival leader approaches, respectfully acknowledging his debt to Zhao Cheng for avenging his men. With their farewells made, the rival crew departs, their leader's final act securing their escape from the crumbling space. Guanju watches him recover, impressed by his heroic actions as she asks if he can move. Zhaoxing rises to his feet, brushing off his injuries and insisting they need to leave the collapsing dungeon immediately. Liu Xie frantically looks for the treasure chest, only to find the spot completely empty. With a confident smile, Guanju reveals she has a special ability to store items and has already secured the treasure. Zhaoqing tries to return her dagger, honoring their agreement that all loot belongs to her. She refuses the weapon, insisting he keep it and reaffirming her promise to help him overthrow his settlement's manager. Liu Xie warns her that she might be too late, as they face a deadly confrontation the moment they leave. Unfazed, Guanju clenches her fist with resolve, vowing to make it in time to help them. As the dungeon crumbles, the two friends make a desperate dash for the swirling blue exit portal. Back in the outside world, Zhaocheng stands ready, assuring his friend that he is fully prepared for the fight ahead. The two friends emerge from the portal, only to find a hostile welcoming party waiting for them. Their rival, Zhao Zhijie, casually remarks on his surprise that they managed to survive the dungeon. He reveals their manager has already ordered their execution for conspiring against him. His face contorts into a manic grin as he gives the order to eliminate them without mercy. But Zhaoqing stands unfazed, revealing his new level 7 status and a formidable arsenal of seals. Liu Xie, now level 4, echoes his friend's resolve, ready to dispatch their enemies quickly. The rival leader scoffs at their confidence, revealing he's a level 8 with a gold seal for speed. His underlings eagerly rush forward, eager to prove their strength against the two supposed weaklings. The entire mob charges, motivated by the promise of a reward for their heads. Zhaocheng grips the hilt of his new dagger, prepared to unleash the power he gained in the dungeon. Zhaocheng scoffs at their slow, clumsy charge. He becomes a blur of motion, effortlessly neutralizing the first wave of attackers. Liu Xie stands over the fallen men, asking his rival if he still thinks they're easy targets. The remaining thugs are stunned by their speed, unable to comprehend what just happened. As Zhaocheng stands victorious, the dungeon portal behind him completely vanishes. Their rival's face twists in shock, realizing the only way for a portal to disappear is if the boss has been defeated. He smirks, wrongly concluding they leached experience from another party and are now only level 2 or 3. With renewed confidence, he draws his blade, convinced their meager level boost is no match for him. But Zhaocheng calmly informs him that his entire assumption is completely wrong. Liu Xie then puffs out his chest, proudly taking all the credit for killing the dungeon boss himself. Zhaocheng is baffled as Liu Xie whispers for him to play along with the grandstanding. The rival leader stares in disbelief, demanding to know what kind of power Liu Xie could possibly possess. He wrongly concludes Liu Xie is the stronger threat and decides to eliminate the weaker Zhaocheng first. Liu Xie boldly continues the charade, confidently boasting about his gold seal and his rival's impending doom. The rival leader orders his men to handle Liu Xie while he personally deals with Zhaocheng. His loyal thugs eagerly accept the command, preparing to swarm their designated target. But the men quickly realize their leader is a coward, sending them after the bigger threat while he picks an easier fight. Seeing his bluff has worked too well, Liu Xie wisely retreats, leaving Zhaocheng to face the charging rival. With a twisted grin, the rival leader closes in on Zhaocheng, ready to deliver a decisive blow. But his ferocious strike is effortlessly blocked, meeting the calm and steady blade of his intended victim. The rival is stunned by Zhaocheng's unexpected strength, realizing it far surpasses the dungeon's level cap. He activates his gold seal for a 30% speed boost, confident that superior agility will negate any power difference. With a manic grin, he combines his level 8 power with his seal, certain he is now completely untouchable. The two become a whirlwind of steel and light, their blades clashing at a speed too fast for the eye to follow. His rival's confidence shatters as he struggles to understand how a supposed weakling can match his incredible velocity. Zhaocheng recalls a lifetime of torment, remembering how his rival would abuse him after his sister's departure. A painful memory surfaces, showing him as a helpless child amidst the wreckage of his ransacked home. The flashback reveals his rival's cruel enjoyment as he towered over the terrified and powerless boy. He remembers being violently grabbed and interrogated by his tormentor over a missing item. In the present, the rival unleashes a furious strike, screaming for Zhao Cheng to return what he believes was stolen. A single tear falls, a memory of past suffering rippling to the surface. Zhao Cheng reveals he knows the true source of his rival's obsession, the Awakening Stone. Enraged by the revelation, his rival lashes out, desperately trying to silence him. Zhao Cheng unleashes his full power, his body wreathed in flames as he recalls the stone was a gift from his sister. He activates all his offensive seals, preparing to unleash a single decisive blow. With cold fury, he declares his blade is now filled with 3 years of accumulated hatred. He launches a fiery assault, driven by the rage of his rival trying to steal his sister's last memento. The rival panics, unable to comprehend or match his opponent's overwhelming speed. Zhao Cheng's flaming blade connects, a devastating strike fueled by his vow to protect his sister's legacy. His rival's face contorts in agony as the final blow lands, his defenses completely shattered. He stands over his fallen rival, declaring that 3 years of humiliation have finally been repaid. The rival's terrified men turn to flee, realizing their leader has been utterly defeated. With cold determination, Zhao Cheng turns his glowing green eyes towards the escaping thugs. He lunges forward, remembering they were also complicit in his past torment. In a fiery whirlwind, he swiftly dispatches the remaining accomplices with brutal efficiency. With the battle concluded, he declares that his long-awaited vengeance is finally complete. Liu Xie rushes over with a proud grin, giving his victorious friend an enthusiastic thumbs up. His attention then shifts to their defeated rival, spotting a dazzling item in his pocket. Zhao Kong retrieves the object, revealing it to be a simple pearl bracelet. Liu Xie's face contorts in shock as he recognizes the bracelet as a memento from his own mother. Liu Xie panics, realizing his mother has likely been taken to the settlement management office. He clutches the bracelet, insisting his mother would never part with her favorite pearls willingly. A warm memory of his mother's embrace flashes through his mind, fueling his determination. Driven by love and fear, Liu Xie sprints towards the settlement, vowing to find her. He desperately seeks reassurance from his friend, who calmly tells him not to worry. Liu Xie's faith in his friend is absolute, trusting that Zhao Cheng's confidence is not misplaced. Zhao Cheng offers a grimly practical reason for hope, which only seems to unsettle his friend further. His friend's cold logic backfires, sending Liu Xie into a comical state of increased panic. The two friends race through the desolate streets, their destination now clearly in sight. Zhao Cheng cuts the conversation short, his gaze fixed on the management office just ahead. The two friends race towards the settlement management office, their destination marked by a red flag. Their progress is halted by a group of familiar faces who call out their names. A woman with pink hair frantically warns them to leave, explaining that something terrible has happened. She reveals that Liu Xie's uncle led a rebellion, surrounding the office and starting a fight. Their friends add that the rebellion is failing and their rival has sent men to capture them. Liu Xie's face fills with worry, torn between escaping and saving his parents. The group tries to reason with him, explaining that ordinary people stand no chance against the manager's awakened forces. An older man clarifies that Liu Xie's father started the uprising after learning his son was sent to the dungeon. The friends plead with them one last time, certain that staying means certain defeat. But Liu Xie refuses to abandon his family, his resolve hardening as he prepares for the inevitable confrontation. He declares his unwavering loyalty, insisting he would rather face certain doom with his family than abandon them. His friends urge Zhao Cheng to take advantage of the chaos and escape, seeing no hope in the situation. Liu Xie selflessly tells his friend to leave and find his sister, preparing to face the coming battle alone. But Zhao Cheng refuses, recalling the immense kindness Liu Xie's family showed him after his own was gone. He reveals their secret support saved him from starvation, declaring that this fight is now his own personal vendetta. Liu Xie is visibly moved by his friend's unwavering loyalty and willingness to join his impossible fight. With a confident grin, he accepts his friend's help, declaring their bond as brothers in life and death. Their friends are left in stunned disbelief, whispering about how the once gloomy Zhao Cheng could have defeated a level 8 awakened. Meanwhile, inside the office, the rebellion's leader is shown captured and bound at the mercy of his captor. The settlement's corrupt manager, a level 10 with 2 gold seals, mockingly taunts his defeated challenger. The captured rebel leader furiously condemns the manager for his tyranny and for targeting his son. Unmoved, the manager flashes a cruel grin, placing the blame for the uprising squarely on his captive. He makes a depraved offer, suggesting the captive surrender his family's women in exchange for a way out. The manager's threat becomes personal as he grabs Liu Zi's mother, his intentions clear and vile. She stares him down with pure defiance, choosing death over submission to his will. Her bravery is met with brutality as the enraged manager throws her to the floor. He sneers, reminding her that her demise won't protect her family from his wrath. Helplessly bound, her husband roars in fury, challenging the manager's cowardice for attacking a woman. The manager's eyes gleam with malice as he agrees to a new order of torment, starting with the husband. With a final sadistic taunt, he prepares to deliver a finishing blow, masking his cruelty as an act of mercy. The manager grins sadistically, raising his hand to deliver a final cruel blow. Liu Zi's mother cries out in horror, watching helplessly as her husband faces his end. Bound but unbroken, her husband roars with defiance, promising to reunite with her in the next life. But his execution is suddenly interrupted by a spinning projectile that deflects the manager's attack. The object, a shield thrown with incredible speed, clatters to the ground, signaling the arrival of new challengers. Zhao Cheng and Liu Zi step into the light, with Zhao Cheng vowing to take the manager's life. The captive father stares in disbelief, seeing his son and his friend standing against the tyrant. The manager scoffs, recognizing the two young men he had sent to their deaths. Overcome with fear for his son, the father desperately pleads for them to escape while they still can. But Liu Zi ignores the warning, activating his seal and declaring their intention to save his family. Liu Zi draws his slingshot, vowing to make the manager pay for harming his parents. The manager effortlessly catches Zhao Cheng's blade, mocking his opponent's seemingly insignificant power. Suddenly, the entire area is shrouded in a thick cloud of smoke, creating chaos and confusion. The manager's eyes narrow, instantly recognizing the smoke as a diversion for a sneak attack. He barks orders at his men, commanding them to stop the heroes from rescuing the captives. But a new challenger descends from above, landing gracefully between the manager and his intended victims. Guanju reveals herself, her eyes glowing with power as she declares herself the manager's true opponent. She lunges forward in a flash, her blade a blur of motion as she begins her swift assault. The manager's confidence remains unshaken, believing this newcomer is just another obstacle to be crushed. He dismisses her with a contemptuous sneer, deeming her completely unworthy of his attention. Zhao Cheng clashes with two of the manager's most formidable enforcers, who intercept his charge. He skillfully disengages, realizing these two are a cut above the usual thugs. His expression hardens as he identifies the masked man as the manager's most trusted and powerful subordinate. A system window identifies the level 9 enforcer, whose gold seal lets him split into two powerful avatars. A flashback reveals his brutal reputation, showing the trail of defeated people he left in his wake. His ruthless nature earned him the feared nickname Fierce Dog among the settlement's residents. The memory highlights his brutal methods, showing him effortlessly intimidating a helpless resident. His glowing eyes promise a vicious and unrelenting fight, a testament to his fearsome reputation. Back in the present, the enforcer lunges with incredible force, but Zhao Cheng successfully parries the devastating attack. The enforcer is visibly stunned, unable to believe this unknown youth could withstand his full-powered assault. Zhao Cheng coldly dismisses the enforcer, declaring his name is irrelevant to a man about to fall. The enforcer retaliates with a vicious taunt, bringing up a false rumor about Zhao Cheng's sister and an awakening stone. He reveals his true motive, admitting he's been searching for the awakening stone that Zhao Cheng supposedly possesses. In response, Zhao Cheng unleashes his full power, activating his fire enchantment and headshot seals simultaneously. He launches a fiery, explosive strike that the enforcer barely manages to intercept. The enforcer's taunts fail as he realizes his words have no effect on his opponent's focus. Undeterred, Zhao Cheng presses his advantage, his body a blur of motion amidst the raging flames. The enforcer analyzes the fight, noting that his psychological tactics have completely failed to disrupt Zhao Cheng's rhythm. He struggles to defend against the fiery onslaught, realizing he's now on the back foot against the powered-up youth. Stunned by his opponent's skill and composure, the enforcer vows to eliminate this prodigious talent before he becomes an even greater threat. The enforcer activates his gold seal, splitting into two powerful shadow avatars to overwhelm his opponent. With his clones flanking him, the enforcer declares that Zhao Cheng's impressive display ends here. Zhao Cheng recognizes the unusual seal ability, realizing he must defend first and formulate a new strategy. As Liu Xie shouts that the captives are safe, Zhao Cheng unleashes a fiery arc against the charging clones. Liu Xie carries an injured man to safety, promising his friend that reinforcements are on the way. Zhao Cheng tells his friend to focus on the other captives, confidently declaring he can handle the enforcer alone. The enforcer smirks, seeing through their plan to rescue the other awakened fighters to even the odds. Zhao Cheng's expression hardens as he parries a blow, realizing the enforcer has done something to the captured men. Liu Xie cries out in alarm, revealing the rescued men are all in severe distress and have been poisoned. Zhao Cheng's eyes narrow with a green glow, finally understanding the enforcer's cruel and calculated trap. The enforcer scoffs, revealing he was never fooled and has been anticipating Zhao Cheng's arrival. He explains that sending Zhao Zhijie to the dungeon was merely a test to confirm Zhao Cheng's true potential. The enforcer orders his subordinate to recall the shadow clones, preparing to address Zhao Cheng directly. As the clones dissipate, the enforcer approaches Zhao Cheng, intending to make him an offer. He proposes a deal: abandon the rebellion, and he will be given his rival's former position of power. From a distance, Liu Xie tries to explain to the weakened men that Zhao Cheng is being unfairly drawn into their conflict. The rescued fighters writhe in agony, the poison coursing through their veins and rendering them helpless. Liu Xie looks on with despair, realizing that in their current state, they are only a liability to his friend. The enforcer looms over the isolated hero, confident that his cruel trap has left Zhao Cheng with no other choice. Cradling a fallen comrade, Liu Xie accepts their grim reality, knowing any attempt to help would be futile. The wounded rebel urges his son not to drag Zhao Cheng into their family's fight. Liu Xie kneels by his father, his expression grim as he accepts the weight of the situation. With tears in his eyes, he desperately tells Zhao Cheng to stand down and save himself. He reaffirms their bond of brotherhood, even as Zhao Cheng appears to turn his back on their plea. Liu Xie grits his teeth, pleading with his friend to choose survival over loyalty. The enforcer smirks, certain that any rational survivor would abandon a lost cause to save their own skin. But Zhao Cheng spins around, his face a mask of fury as he rejects his friend's suggestion. He declares with unwavering conviction that he would never betray his brother, honoring the values his sister taught him. With a final furious roar, he launches himself towards the enforcer, ready to end the fight. He dives headfirst into the enemy ranks, vowing that they will all make it out of this alive. Liu Xie watches in horror, calling out his friend's name as he charges into the fray. The enforcer smirks, callously ordering his men to eliminate the foolishly loyal youth. His subordinates eagerly charge forward, vowing to take Zhao Cheng down for their leader. The masked subordinate lunges with murderous intent, determined to end the fight once and for all. But Zhao Cheng calmly activates his solo development seal, gaining a massive 300% strength boost. Their attacks collide in a spectacular explosion of power, shaking the battlefield. Wreathed in a golden aura, he effortlessly weaves through the enforcer's shadow clones. The subordinate is stunned as Zhao Cheng's newfound strength completely overpowers his own. He wrongly concludes the fire ability was a feint, and this strength boost is Zhao Cheng's true seal. As Zhao Cheng lands a heavy blow, the subordinate believes he was tricked into underestimating his opponent. The subordinate scoffs, confident his two shadow clones will easily overwhelm Zhao Cheng's boosted strength. Zhao Cheng realizes the clone ability is a major problem, forcing him to rethink his strategy on the fly. The enforcer spots an opening, ordering his archers to fire while Zhao Cheng is vulnerable in midair. An archer takes careful aim, his eyes locked on the airborne hero. A volley of arrows streaks through the air, closing in on the defenseless Zhao Cheng. He expertly deflects the projectiles, recognizing these men are not awakened but are still highly trained and dangerous. He calculates his odds, realizing he's too slow to block every arrow while trapped in the air. The archers reload, urged by their leader to aim for a disabling shot. In a brilliant display of agility, he uses the fired arrows as makeshift platforms to change his trajectory. He weighs his options, realizing a ranged attack would leave him unarmed and vulnerable to the enforcer's counter. Liu Xie grins with renewed purpose, his resolve hardening as he prepares to support his friend. He fires his slingshot, vowing to create an opening by exposing the enemy's weaknesses. His projectiles burst against an enemy shield, blanketing the area in a thick cloud of white powder. The enforcer's men choke and stumble, realizing this is no ordinary smoke bomb. The subordinate identifies the substance as quicklime and orders his archers to eliminate the resourceful Liu Xie first. Zhao Cheng smirks, realizing his friend's clever preparations have come in handy at the perfect moment. With the archers blinded, the enforcer's two shadow clones lunge at Zhao Cheng from opposite sides. But his sharp eyes detect a flaw, noticing the clone's movements are surprisingly sluggish. He decides to exploit this weakness, swinging his blade to cut down one of the clones before it can strike. His attack connects, but he's stunned to find the clone feels no pain and continues its assault completely unfazed. He realizes that simply injuring the clone isn't enough. He must completely immobilize it. He changes tactics, unleashing a powerful cleaving strike intended to bisect the shadow avatar. His blade slices through the clone, which dissolves into shadow as the enforcer recoils in pain. The enforcer stares in shock, demanding to know how Zhao Cheng destroyed his avatar. Zhao Cheng deduces that destroying the clone also harms the original user, forcing him to stay mobile. His movement draws the attention of the enforcer's men, who quickly regroup and take aim. He knows his strength-boosting seal is about to expire and realizes he must end this fight quickly. Channeling his fury, he deflects an incoming arrow, vowing to settle the score for all their past misdeeds. The enforcer corners him, gloating that he's finally trapped his elusive opponent. The enforcer vows this is the end, knowing he can't summon another clone, and that this is now a fight to the death. Zhao Deng's eyes gleam with cold resolve, ready to end the fight on his terms. He lunges forward, a shadowy blur of motion aimed directly at his opponent. But a system window confirms his strength-boosting seal has just expired, leaving him seemingly vulnerable. The enforcer smirks, correctly identifying that Zhao Cheng's temporary power has faded. He and his clone charge, confident that the now weakened youth is no match for their combined level 9 power. The enforcer celebrates prematurely, convinced that he has already won the battle. But Zhao Cheng calmly activates another trait, a smirk hinting that the fight is far from over. A system window reveals his seal's second effect, a staggering 450% strength boost as he shatters the clone's weapon. The enforcer stares in disbelief, stunned that his opponent's power is now even greater than before. Zhao Cheng's gaze is icy, promising a swift and decisive end to his overconfident foe. The enforcer challenges Zhao Cheng, unleashing his final desperate strike. But his attack is met with an overwhelming counter, as Zhao Cheng's powered-up blow shatters his defense. With a cold glare, Zhao Cheng notes that his opponent was clearly not strong enough to withstand the blow. A system window confirms the kill, announcing that the feared Mad Dog has been slain. The remaining subordinates stare in terror, their leader's sudden defeat sending them into a panic. Liu Xie watches in utter disbelief, stunned that his friend actually pulled off the impossible victory. The rescued rebels are equally amazed, wondering how the boy grew so strong and finding a new spark of hope. The settlement manager's face hardens, acknowledging that his most powerful enforcer has fallen. Zhao Cheng turns his attention to the true villain, declaring that the manager's turn has finally come. His eyes burn with cold fury as he vows to make the tyrant pay for years of cruelty and corruption. The manager scoffs at the accusation, twisting his tyrannical rule into a heroic narrative. He then commits a brutal act against Liu Xie's mother, claiming his fearsome reputation is all that protects her. Enraged by the assault on his mother, Liu Xie activates his seal and takes aim with his slingshot. He unleashes a glowing projectile, a single shot aimed directly at the tyrannical manager. But the manager catches the shot with his bare hand, mocking the boy's futile attempt. Liu Xie is stunned, realizing the manager easily stopped a blow enhanced by his weakness-detecting seal. The manager prepares to demonstrate what he considers true power, turning his attention to the boy. He lunges forward with terrifying speed, unleashing a devastating ground-shattering strike. Liu Xie is frozen in fear, completely overwhelmed by the manager's incredible speed and violent force. But the attack is intercepted in a massive explosion of energy as Zhao Cheng steps in to protect his friend. Liu Xie shouts a warning, telling his friend to use smoke bombs to obscure the manager's vision. Zhao Cheng's expression hardens, knowing they must use every trick they have to defeat this powerful foe. Liu Xie springs into action, creating a diversion as instructed. But the manager moves with blinding speed, instantly closing the distance and catching Liu Xie off guard. He effortlessly lifts Liu Xie, dismissing his interference as nothing more than an annoyance. Zhao Cheng roars in fury, watching helplessly as his friend is captured. He unleashes a powerful glowing strike, aiming to free his friend from the manager's grasp. The manager blocks the glowing blade with his bare arm, impressed by the boy's strength but still completely unfazed. He correctly deduces Zhao Cheng's power comes from a special trait, confident that the boy's lower base level is no match for him. With a single push, the manager sends Zhao Cheng staggering back, demonstrating a level of physical power far beyond the dungeon boss. The manager tries to recruit Zhao Cheng, offering him power and claiming his vengeance should be satisfied. But Zhao Cheng furiously rejects the deal, accusing the manager of filling the settlement with criminals. He continues his furious condemnation, declaring the manager's men are nothing but thugs who prey on the innocent. With absolute conviction, he refuses to join such a corrupt leader, turning his back on the offer. The manager sneers at his defiance, mockingly questioning his desire to be a hero. He then lunges forward with overwhelming force, promising to grant Zhao Cheng a hero's death. The manager lectures him on the harsh realities of their world, dismissing his naive idealism. He justifies his brutal rule as a necessary evil to protect the settlement from outside threats. The manager unleashes his gold seal, gigantic body, granting him a massive boost to his health and defense. Unfazed, Zhao Cheng activates his flame enchantment, preparing to meet the manager's power with his own. The manager justifies his tyranny, claiming his protection is a fair trade for their supplies. He scoffs at idealism, revealing his own father's soft-heartedness led to his downfall. A flashback reveals his concern for his father, who was frequently injured in fights. His father dismissed the injuries, proudly calling them a hero's badge of honor for protecting the settlement. But this so-called hero met a tragic end, his sacrifice ultimately proving futile. The manager now scoffs at his father's foolish pride, seeing heroism as a worthless pursuit. He lunges at Zhao Cheng, his body crackling with power as he challenges his opponent's heroic ideals. His eyes glow with red energy as he declares his hatred for naive idealists. With a sadistic grin, he offers to send the young hero to an early grave. Unfazed, Zhao Cheng grips his dagger, his glowing eyes promising a fight to the finish. The two warriors collide in a spectacular explosion of fiery energy. Zhao Cheng realizes the manager's seal is purely defensive and decides to reset his own cooldowns for an all-out assault. He activates his gold seal, refresh once, instantly resetting the cooldowns on his most powerful abilities. He immediately reactivates solo development, boosting his strength by a massive 300%. The manager is stunned, unable to comprehend how his opponent's power can still increase. Staggering back, the manager realizes he can no longer hold back and must press the attack. But Zhao Cheng stacks his power further, activating his seal's second effect for a staggering 450% strength boost. Wreathed in a golden inferno, he unleashes a strike that the manager struggles to block. The manager is shocked by the explosive power, feeling the strain even through his defensive seal. The fiery clash intensifies as Zhao Cheng relentlessly presses his overwhelming advantage. The manager struggles, realizing his opponent's power must come from more than just a single trait. He notices the lingering flames on his body, wrongly dismissing them as a simple trick rather than a powerful seal. As Zhao Cheng presses his fiery assault, the manager knows a direct confrontation will only lead to his defeat. His eyes dart to a captive, realizing he needs a new strategy and has found the perfect leverage. He activates his second gold seal, Bravery, gaining a 30% strength boost to counter the overwhelming assault. Zhao Cheng calmly notes the meager power-up, confident that his own collection of seals far outweighs the manager's. Believing he has the clear advantage, he commits to a single, overwhelming strike to finish the fight. He brings his flaming blade down with brutal force, aiming to cleave his enemy in two. But the manager smirks, deciding to endure the blow to create a critical opening for a counterattack. Zhao Cheng is stunned as his opponent makes no move to defend, a tactic he did not anticipate. The manager endures the fiery blow, sacrificing his arm to create an opening for his true objective. He lunges past the attack, seizing the vulnerable Liu Zie from the ground. Despite the severe burn, the manager grins, knowing his desperate gambit has paid off. He holds Liu Zie hostage, threatening to end his life if Zhao Cheng doesn't surrender his weapon. Zhao Cheng's fiery aura intensifies as he glares at the manager's despicable tactic. The tyrant justifies his cruelty, claiming survival is the only thing that matters in their world. Zhao Cheng hesitates, knowing that disarming himself means certain defeat once his powers fade. He's frozen by the impossible choice, trapped between saving his friend and losing the fight. But Liu Zie's captured father speaks up, questioning the manager's motives for the years of oppression. He then delivers a cutting personal insult, referencing the manager's family history to provoke him. The rebel leader clarifies that their loyalty was a debt owed to the manager's heroic father. The manager is taken aback, questioning why anyone would feel indebted to his father. A flashback reveals the manager's father was a true hero, single-handedly defending the settlement from invaders. The rebel leader recounts how the father sacrificed his life to stop a raid from Settlement 119, saving everyone. He explains they endured the manager's cruelty, hoping he would one day live up to his father's legacy. But his hope shattered a year ago when he overheard a damning conversation. A flashback reveals the manager's plan to abandon the settlement after bleeding it dry for a promotion in a rival territory. The rebel leader clenches his fist in fury, learning the manager's men were excited to leave their home to rot. He furiously accuses the manager of betraying his father by joining the very people who ended his life. The manager explodes with rage, declaring his father deserved to die for his foolish heroism. The manager reveals his true ambition, sneering at his father's legacy and vowing to join a more powerful organization. He issues a chilling ultimatum, starting a countdown and threatening to eliminate Liu Ziye if Zhao Cheng doesn't surrender. As the countdown begins, Zhao Cheng is paralyzed with indecision, torn between saving his friend and losing the fight. The tense standoff is interrupted by the roar of engines as a convoy from Settlement 119 suddenly arrives on the scene. A cruel smile spreads across the manager's face, realizing his reinforcements have arrived and declaring the fight is over. He eagerly calls out to the newcomers, ordering his allies from Settlement 119 to help him crush the remaining resistance. But before they can act, a glowing projectile slams into the lead vehicle, bringing the convoy to a screeching halt. The soldiers from Settlement 119 disembark, armed and ready, but clearly confused by the unexpected attack. Zhao Cheng analyzes the chaotic scene, realizing he's trapped and cannot abandon his friend or his family to certain doom. A familiar voice cuts through the chaos as Guanju appears, questioning his chances of winning this fight alone. The manager gloats, confident that his new allies guarantee his victory. A stylish newcomer, the manager of Settlement 119, steps forward to address the tyrant. The tyrant immediately drops his hostage and bows, showing complete subservience to the new arrival. He fawns over the newcomer, honored by the personal attention from the powerful manager. Meanwhile, Zhao Cheng rushes to his friend's side, relieved to find him still breathing. He realizes the manager has allied with his father's killers, confirming his truly heartless nature. Zhao Cheng feels an overwhelming pressure from the new manager, knowing this foe is far beyond his current strength. The newcomer dismisses the tyrant's flattery, threatening him if he can't help find a specific person. The tyrant scrambles to please him, confused why his supposed allies haven't mentioned his name. Ignoring the plea, the newcomer asks his own men to locate a person named Zhao Cheng. The tyrant eagerly points out Zhao Cheng, accusing him of rebelling against the company. He smirks, convinced that the powerful manager Jiang has arrived to crush his enemies for him. The newcomer, manager Jiang, coolly considers the accusation, wondering if Zhao Cheng truly aims to take over. Presenting his severed arm, the tyrant begs for justice, painting himself as the victim of Zhao Cheng's assault. Manager Jiang turns his gaze to the young fighter, directly asking him to confirm his identity. With unwavering resolve, Zhao Cheng affirms that he is the man they are looking for. The newcomer scoffs, questioning how a supposed rookie could possibly injure a level 10 manager. The tyrant stammers, desperately trying to explain the source of Zhao Cheng's unexpected power. But manager Jiang cuts him off, suddenly aiming a weapon at the tyrant's head with cold indifference. With Zhao Cheng's identity confirmed, the newcomer swiftly dispatches the now useless tyrant, ending his reign permanently. Manager Jiang declares the nuisance has been dealt with, turning his attention to the rebellion. Liu Ziye realizes this powerful newcomer is here to take over, and they are his next target. But the manager reveals he was sent by a higher authority with an urgent order to help Zhao Cheng. Zhao Cheng remains on guard, questioning how he can possibly trust this unexpected ally. The manager acknowledges his caution, reaching into his pocket to offer proof of his intentions. He reveals a familiar compass, explaining that the sender knew this item would earn his trust. Zhao Cheng instantly recognizes the compass, realizing Guanju is the one who sent reinforcements. He marvels at her influence, never imagining she could command a powerful settlement manager. The manager then reveals that Guanju also sent a generous supply of provisions for them. His men begin unloading crates of food, a clear sign of their new alliance and support. Manager Jiang presents an official credential, revealing the former tyrant was never recognized by the company. He offers the card to Zhao Cheng, presenting him with the chance to become the settlement's new legitimate leader. Zhao Cheng hesitates, realizing this is the very power Liu Zi's family fought and nearly died to obtain. The captured rebel leader insists he take it, declaring Zhao Cheng is the most worthy candidate for the position. With resolve, Zhao Cheng accepts the credential, vowing to repay this debt to Guanju in the future. The powerful newcomer orders his medics to immediately tend to the wounded rebels. Manager Jiang then reveals Guanju sent another offer, but this one is entirely Zhao Cheng's choice. His curiosity piqued, Zhao Cheng wonders what else his mysterious benefactor has planned for him. The manager extends a formal invitation to participate in a special trial at the powerful Settlement 119. He explains that passing this trial will grant Zhao Cheng a chance to join the powerful company they all serve. The manager explains the history of the powerful Brahma company, which rose to save the eastern continent after an ancient apocalypse. He reveals that the company now holds absolute control over all lands, people, and settlements across the entire continent. Joining this company is the ultimate goal for every citizen, as it offers unparalleled security, resources, and status. For the people of the eastern continent, becoming an employee of Brahma company is the greatest aspiration they can achieve. Manager Jiang formally presents the choice: take the trial at Settlement 119 or remain here as the new manager. Zhao Cheng's resolve hardens as he remembers his sister was taken by the company, realizing this trial is his only path to find her. He glances over at the wounded rebels being treated, knowing he can't just abandon them in their time of need. He understands that the settlement is in chaos and needs a leader to restore order and hope for the people. He asks Manager Jiang for 2 days to settle affairs, a request the man graciously accepts. With a look of gratitude, Zhao Cheng accepts the terms, ready to prepare for the choice ahead. Manager Jiang watches the supplies being unloaded, puzzled by how an ordinary-looking youth is connected to someone so powerful. He plots to use this connection, believing that controlling Zhao Cheng could be his ticket to a higher rank within the company. Later that night, the entire settlement gathers around a large bonfire, a sense of community restored. Liu Ziya's father addresses the crowd, with Zhao Cheng standing beside him as a hero. He announces that with everyone gathered, it's time to make some important decisions about their future. The father recounts Zhao Cheng's heroic deeds and declares that the people have chosen him as their new leader. But Zhao Cheng humbly declines, offering the manager's credential to Liu Ziya's father instead. The family is stunned as Liu Fu argues that Zhao Cheng's strength is needed to protect them all. Zhao Cheng explains he must leave to find his sister, confident that the awakened members of the Liu family are strong enough to lead. The crowd agrees, recognizing that Liu Fu's experience and temperament make him the ideal choice for their new manager. Liu Fu voices his fear that power could corrupt him, just as it did the previous manager. The crowd murmurs in agreement, recalling how the former manager's father was a hero, yet his son became a tyrant. His wife offers a look of encouragement, prompting him to reveal his plan for the settlement. Instead of ruling by decree, he presents a book of laws, proposing a new system of governance for everyone. He explains these 15 laws were drafted to prevent tyranny and will be updated yearly to adapt to their needs. The people embrace the idea, realizing a system of shared rules is far better than the whims of a single leader. Zhao Cheng watches with admiration, acknowledging that Liu Fu's intelligence and foresight make him the perfect leader. With the settlement's future secure, he feels a sense of relief, now free to pursue his own quest. His decision made, he stands ready to depart, a solitary figure preparing to leave his newfound community behind. He walks into the night, vowing to travel as a lone wolf on his journey to find his sister. But his lone wolf act is interrupted by Liu Ziya, who angrily questions if their brotherhood means nothing. With a dramatic flourish, he insists his friend is too naive to survive the world's tricks without his brilliant guidance. Amused by the display, Zhao Cheng calmly asks if his friend is just there to wish him farewell. Refusing to be left behind, Liu Ziya gets in his face, insisting that true greatness requires a partner in crime. Zhao Cheng counters with a wry smile, asking the obvious question of whether his parents actually approved this little adventure. He sheepishly admits he snuck out, but justifies it by explaining he left a note promising to return once he's famous. His true motivation is revealed as he daydreams of the pink-haired girl, vowing to marry her upon his triumphant return. Zhao Cheng gives a resigned smile, telling his friend to hurry back before his family panics over his disappearance. But as he turns away, a determined hand grabs his cloak, refusing to let him go. Quoting a verse about soaring to great heights, the two friends walk off into the unknown, their journey now a shared one. Liu Ziya declares his friend is a legendary bird, and he wishes to soar just as high. He turns to Zhao Cheng, vowing that in this vast world, he refuses to remain a nobody. With fiery conviction, he explains that his friend's example has ignited his own ambition. Zhao Cheng is visibly taken aback by his friend's passionate declaration of loyalty. Liu Zi selflessly offers his friend an escape, telling him it's okay to turn back if the journey gets too tough. From a nearby vehicle, Manager Jiang lights a cigarette, observing the two friends with amusement. A knowing smirk crosses his face as he senses that significant events are now in motion. The convoy drives off into the night, carrying the two young men towards their new destiny. The driver makes small talk, noting that Manager Jiang must value them highly to bring them along personally. Zhao Cheng watches his friend, understanding that Liu Ziye has emotional ties to the home he's leaving behind. Zhao Cheng decides to change the subject, hoping to distract his friend with a question for the driver. The driver turns with a grin, surprised to be addressed by the quiet young man. Zhao Cheng cuts straight to the point, asking if Manager Jiang was the one who eliminated their settlement's previous leader. The driver is momentarily flustered, sweating under the intensity of the unexpected question. Liu Zi cringes internally, realizing his friend's attempt at small talk is a social disaster. The driver clarifies that while Manager Jiang didn't kill their old boss, he did eliminate his own predecessor to take power. He explains that unlike previous leaders, Manager Jiang focuses on improving their settlement, earning the people's loyalty. The driver concludes that because of this, the current manager is well-liked and respected by everyone. Zhao Cheng has a sudden epiphany, seemingly understanding the core principle of their world's power structure. The driver is stunned, realizing the young man completely misinterpreted his story, much to Liu Ziya's dismay. Zhao Cheng's keen senses detect a foul odor, warning that mutated beasts from the wild are approaching. On the cliffs above, packs of glowing-eyed creatures watch the convoy, their numbers growing in the darkness. Liu Ziye panics at the sight of the ferocious beasts, wondering why they are being targeted by mutated wolves. Zhao Cheng calmly corrects him, identifying the creatures as lesser, mutated mutts that lack a true wolf's cunning. The mutated mutts swarm the convoy, scrambling onto the vehicles as Liu Ziye marvels at his friend's knowledge. The driver remains unfazed, explaining they've handled these creatures before, and that Manager Jiang is far more powerful than they know. Manager Jiang gives a simple, chilling command for his driver to cover his ears, who immediately obeys. He takes a deep breath, gathering his power for a single, decisive action. A system window reveals his gold trait, Beast King's Roar, as he unleashes a powerful shout manifested as a fiery tiger. A devastating shockwave of pure energy erupts from the convoy, instantly blasting the entire pack of creatures away. Zhao Cheng braces himself, recognizing the overwhelming force as the manager's powerful sonic trait. Liu Ziye grits his teeth, equally stunned by the raw power of the sound-based attack. The driver smirks with pride, his faith in Manager Jiang's strength completely validated. The convoy continues on its way, leaving the scattered and defeated pack of mutts in its wake. Inside, the level 25 deputy manager suggests that the display was a deliberate provocation aimed at their VIP guest. Manager Jiang scoffs at the warning, dismissing Zhao Cheng as a pampered boy who can't threaten him. He reveals a deep-seated hatred for those who rely on connections, believing he earned his position the hard way. The manager coldly warns his subordinate to stay out of his affairs, asserting his absolute authority. He reveals his ambition, confident that as long as he remains useful, his superiors will overlook his methods. The convoy finally arrives at its destination, the imposing Settlement 119 looming under the full moon. The convoy rolls into Settlement 119 as the residents clear a path, announcing their manager's return. Guards salute the convoy, welcoming their leader back with a show of respect. The deputy manager leads the two friends to a simple building, informing them it's their temporary quarters. While Liu Ziye notes the room's shabby state, Zhao Cheng is content, finding it an improvement over his previous home. The deputy hands them a document, revealing it contains the official instructions for the company's trial. He warns them that they are not the only candidates, as many others will be competing in the same trial. Liu Ziye breathes a sigh of relief at having written instructions, while Zhao Cheng immediately makes himself at home. The deputy observes Zhao Cheng's casual behavior, questioning his own assumption that the boy is a pampered elite. After offering assistance if needed, the deputy takes his leave, leaving the two friends to settle in. Liu Ziye reads the instructions, noting that their trial seems simple. Clear a level 10 dimensional instance. Lying down, Zhao Cheng questions how many participants will be accepted into the company. Liu Ziye checks the document, confirming that crucial detail is suspiciously missing. This implies the trial is a brutal free-for-all, pitting every ambitious candidate against each other. Zhao Cheng deduces the true test, Not just defeating the boss, but surviving the other players. Liu Zie agrees, realizing that whoever lands the final blow on the boss will immediately become everyone else's target. Recalling his own costly victories, Zhao Cheng suggests a smarter strategy: let others do the hard work. As he considers this tactic, a memory of Guanju flashes in his mind, catching him by surprise. Liu Zie notices his friend's expression and playfully teases him about thinking of a woman. He then tucks his friend in, telling him to get some rest before their big day. As he settles into his own bed, Liu Zie mutters about his friend's newfound romantic thoughts. Zhao Cheng contemplates Guanju, realizing she exists in a world far different from their own. Liu Zie cuts the conversation short, telling his friend to just go to sleep. He drifts off, dreaming of the status they'll achieve after passing the trial and joining the company. Meanwhile, Manager Jiang analyzes Zhao Cheng's behavior, wondering if his humility is genuine or a clever facade. He decides the true test will come tomorrow, eager to see if the boy's skills match his reputation. His deputy questions the manager's unusual fixation on the young newcomer. The manager reveals that Zhao Cheng reminds him of his younger self, a defiant talent facing oppression. He acknowledges a key difference. Zhao Cheng has a powerful benefactor, a luxury he never had. With a hint of envy, he admits his interest might stem from jealousy over the boy's fortunate circumstances. The deputy remains unconvinced, sensing there might be a deeper, unspoken motive behind his boss's actions. The next day dawns, bringing with it the start of the company's trial. The candidates assemble before a swirling dimensional instance, a far larger crowd than they had anticipated. Liu Zie observes the fierce competition, realizing that powerful awakeners are not as rare as he once believed. But Zhao Cheng knows the true challenge isn't just being powerful, but being smart enough to survive. Manager Jiang lays out the terms, promising a place in the company to anyone who can survive the instance. He offers a generic good luck, but his pointed gaze is fixed solely on Zhao Cheng. Liu Zie notices the intense stare, convinced the manager is deliberately trying to provoke them. With the rules set, the other candidates eagerly stampede into the portal, hungry for experience and glory. Zhao Cheng questions the manager's motive, but Liu Zie can only guess they'll find the answer inside. Liu Zie's confidence crumbles into annoyance, frustrated by his friend's nonchalant, "I don't know." From a rooftop, two mysterious figures watch the candidates pour into the massive cave-like instance. A man in a suit warns his cloaked companion not to reveal herself, fearing the disapproval of their master. The cloaked figure, revealed to be the trial's examiner, states she is merely scouting the situation. Inside, the candidates rush through the dark cavern, urged to find a path before the sinister energy overwhelms them. Faced with multiple tunnels, the group splinters as one man chooses his path based on a lucky feeling. Liu Zie turns to his friend, asking for guidance on which route they should take. Before Zhao Cheng can answer, a familiar face appears, clapping a hand on Liu Zie's shoulder. The man grins, overjoyed to have found them and declaring their reunion a work of fate. It's the driver from their convoy, who reveals he's also participating in the trial to secure a better future. He enthusiastically suggests they form a team, offering to watch their backs in the dangerous instance. Liu Zie frantically tries to send his friend a silent, urgent warning with just his eyes. He's convinced the driver is a spy for Manager Jiang, desperately hoping his friend gets the hint. Zhao Cheng gives a subtle nod, and Liu Zie breathes a sigh of relief, certain his message was understood. But instead of refusing, Zhao Cheng demands the driver pay 200 resource coupons to join their team. Liu Zie grabs his friend in disbelief, completely baffled by this unexpected and greedy response. The driver cheerfully agrees to the price, boasting about his high salary and leaving Liu Zie stunned. As their new teammate celebrates, Zhao Cheng's gaze shifts, sensing another person hiding nearby. A young woman with goggles watches from the rocks, identifying Zhao Cheng as a rare radiant trait user. The newly formed trio heads off, but the hidden girl feels a strange hesitation at the thought of joining a team. She knows teaming up would boost her survival chances, but her shyness around new people makes her pause. She thinks of her people waiting for her, resolving that she cannot afford to fail. Steeling her nerves, she reminds herself that she carries the hopes of her entire settlement. Meanwhile, the driver worries about the dangerous tunnels, blaming their delay on Zhao Cheng's earlier antics. He nervously admits the instance is new and notoriously dangerous, which is why he's never entered before. But Liu Zie puts on a confident front, declaring this straightforward, fight-heavy instance is perfect for him. The driver is impressed by his bravado, while Zhao Cheng silently notes his friend's bluff is working. Suddenly, Zhao Cheng's keen senses detect an unseen threat, and he signals for silence. The trio instantly goes on guard, with Zhao Cheng's hand hovering over his weapon. The hidden girl panics, wondering if she's been discovered and what she should do next. But the real danger reveals itself as monsters swarm from the walls and ground, surrounding them. The monstrous ambush reveals itself to be a pack of screeching, steel-clawed rats of varying levels. A much larger, more ferocious level 8 rat leads the charge, its claws ready to tear them apart. Hiding nearby, the goggled girl sighs in relief, realizing their alarm was for the monsters, not her. Zhao Cheng takes command, assigning the weaker rats to his allies while he prepares to face the strongest one. But Liu Zi immediately protests, pointing out that he and the driver are too weak to survive if Zhao Cheng is delayed. Challenged to provide a better plan, Liu Zi smirks, sensing his moment to shine has finally arrived. He explains a classic strategy from an old tale, suggesting they use their weakest members to stall the enemy's strongest. While their strongest member quickly eliminates the weaker foes, the driver is left completely baffled by the horse racing analogy. When asked for clarification, Liu Zi explains that class is simply determined by their combat level. The driver grins, realizing that by this logic, the level 4 Liu Zi is the team's official lower-class horse, much to his friend's horror. The hulking level 8 rat leader lets out a piercing shriek, its glowing red eyes promising a vicious fight. Liu Zi swallows hard, his face pale with fear as he stares at the formidable beast. The driver panics, urging them to abandon Liu Zi's strategy and revert to Zhao Cheng's original plan. As the pack charges, Zhao Cheng realizes this instance is far more dangerous than he anticipated. He grips his blade with a confident smirk, recalling the last dungeon boss was a mere level 5. Liu Zi takes aim with his slingshot, telling the driver to cover him as he targets the monster's weak points. His glowing projectile finds its mark, and the driver praises the impressive accuracy of the shot. The driver takes the lead, urging them to run and create distance from the swarming creatures. But Liu Zi's expression hardens, determined not to be a burden to his friend again. Zhao Cheng meets the leader's charge head-on, his blade clashing with its claws in a shower of sparks. The rat leader's glowing red eye narrows, recognizing that its opponent will not be an easy kill. A system window reveals the monster's bronze trait, granting it a sudden 15% boost to its damage and speed. With its power enhanced, the rat leader lets out a furious shriek, its claws crackling with menacing energy. But Zhao Cheng meets its aggression with his own, activating his flame enchantment for the decisive clash. His flaming blade collides with the beast in a devastating strike, overwhelming its defenses. Surrounded by a fiery aura, he realizes that with his stacked traits, monsters of this level are no longer a match for him. A system window confirms the kill, activating an experience-boosting trait that rewards him for the swift victory. With the leader dispatched, he turns his attention back to his friends, knowing they are still in danger. Meanwhile, the driver frantically carries Liu Zi on his back, desperately trying to outrun the swarming monsters. Liu Zi is impressed by their teamwork, wryly noting that the driver is once again living up to his name. Zhao Cheng's sharp eyes detect a flaw, noticing the remaining rats are inexplicably slower than their leader. He deduces a hidden ally is disrupting the monster's sense of smell, hindering their pursuit. Realizing this mysterious person means them no harm, he watches his friends create distance from the disoriented beasts. With his blade still glowing, he resolves to finish the rats before seeking answers from their unseen helper. From his perch on the driver's back, Liu Zi activates his seal and unleashes a volley of precisely aimed shots. The projectiles strike true, causing the two remaining monsters to recoil in pain and confusion. The driver flashes a grin, impressed by the accuracy of his new younger teammate. He boasts about his own gold attribute power, confidently declaring the rats are no threat as he continues to flee. The agitated monsters screech in frustration, realizing they're being picked off from a distance. Liu Zi and the driver finally stop, turning back to see the creatures have abandoned the chase entirely. The rats change tactics, burrowing into the ground to outmaneuver their fleeing targets. Liu Zi realizes their plan, shouting a warning that the creatures are preparing a sneak attack from below. The driver is completely baffled, unable to grasp the sudden change in the monster's strategy. Panicked, Liu Zi grabs his new teammate, urging him to run faster to escape the impending ambush. But it's too late, as a rat erupts from the ground directly in their path, claws ready to strike. The creature's attack narrowly misses, slamming into the ground as the two men stumble backward in terror. The driver breaks into a cold sweat, fearing for his future family prospects after the near miss. Watching from the shadows, the hidden girl realizes the two are in serious trouble and can't escape on their own. Deciding to act, she unleashes her own gold attribute power, a special trait called scent manipulation. A foul purple aura envelops the rats, overwhelming their senses and causing them to recoil in disgust. With the monsters disoriented, Zhao Cheng seizes the perfect moment to launch his final attack. He unleashes a devastating fiery slash, cutting down the remaining two rats in a single fluid motion. A system window confirms the activation of his experience-boosting trait, rewarding him for his efficiency. He notes that even with the bonus, leveling up is becoming increasingly difficult as he gets stronger. The driver tearfully thanks his teammates for saving him, while Liu Zie mocks his dramatic display of relief. Liu Zie is suddenly stunned as a system window reveals he has leveled up to level 5. While his friend celebrates, Zhao Cheng calmly calls out, thanking their unseen ally for the assistance. The driver and Liu Zie look around in confusion, completely unaware of a fourth person's presence. A nervous young woman with goggles steps out from the shadows, admitting that she has been discovered. Liu Zie quickly tries to save face, pretending he knew she was there all along, much to the driver's skepticism. The driver calls out Liu Zie's bluff, pointing out he was just as clueless about their hidden helper. But Zhao Cheng calmly reassures the nervous girl, telling her she's not an enemy since she helped them. He formally thanks her for her assistance, declaring that the team is now in her debt. His two companions are still confused, asking how she helped, but Zhao Cheng playfully claims not to know. He then explains she secretly slowed the monsters, saving them from certain injury, which makes the girl blush. The driver has a tearful epiphany, dramatically thanking the young woman for saving his future prospects. Zhao Cheng makes a solemn promise to repay the favor if their paths ever cross again. He then turns to leave, bidding her farewell as the driver drags a bewildered Liu Zie along. The girl Hua Xiaoman realizes this is her one chance and knows she can't let them go. Overcoming her shyness, she nervously asks if she can join their team for the rest of the trial. Liu Zie whispers to the driver, convinced his friend is a natural ladies' man, and this new girl is a welcome distraction. But Zhao Cheng gives a stern warning, explaining their path leads to the instant's boss and the risk of death is very real. The girl declares she's not afraid, as her family in Settlement 347 is depending on her to succeed and bring back supplies. With fierce determination, she insists that failing her people would be a far worse fate than anything this instance can throw at her. Overwhelmed by her responsibility, she bows deeply, desperately pleading to be allowed to join their team. A powerful aura surrounds Zhao Cheng, his daggers glowing as a spectral dragon manifests behind him, symbolizing his hidden potential. Despite her desperate plea, Zhao Cheng coldly rejects her request to join them. His companions are stunned by the blunt refusal, completely baffled by his unexpected lack of compassion. Visibly crushed, the young woman asks for a reason, unable to understand his cold rejection. He calmly lays out his logic, explaining he can't protect her, their team is a target, and she's better off seeking aid from manager Jiang. Xiaomen questions if Zhao Cheng's reasons for rejecting her are truly genuine. She suspects he thinks she's too weak compared to his current teammates. The driver takes offense, feeling underestimated by the young woman. Xiaomen apologizes, clarifying she meant no disrespect, and departs. Liu Zie teases Zhao Cheng about his supposed feelings for the departing girl. Zhao Cheng reassures Liu Zie that she isn't weak, surprising his friend. Liu Zie is touched by the compliment, feeling understood by his friend. The driver observes their interaction, noting their close bond. He wonders if Zhao Cheng truly has powerful connections. The driver whispers a question to Zhao Cheng, his curiosity piqued. Zhao Cheng reveals the driver was deliberately placed on their team by manager Jiang, leaving Liu Zie speechless. He deduces that sending a trusted subordinate proves the manager is taking them very seriously. Lost in thought, Liu Zie stumbles over an unseen obstacle in the dark tunnel. He angrily turns to see what tripped him, ready to confront whoever got in his way. His anger turns to horror as he discovers the obstacle was the body of a fallen trial participant. The driver recognizes the victim as a powerful level 9 from their settlement, wondering how she was defeated. He fears the monsters in this part of the instance are far more dangerous than they anticipated. But Zhao Cheng's sharp eyes reveal a darker truth. The fatal wounds were inflicted by other humans. Liu Zie's panicked shout draws his friend's attention to an even more grim discovery. They find a hidden alcove filled with bodies, confirming the trial is a brutal battleground between the candidates themselves. The driver is horrified, realizing an entire team, including a powerful level 10, has been wiped out. Zhao Cheng calmly observes that the fatal wounds are from human weapons, confirming they were ambushed by other candidates. He deduces the attackers were from their own settlement, revealing deep-seated rivalries within Settlement 119. The driver is left stammering in fear, realizing the true danger of the trial isn't just monsters. Their grim discovery is interrupted as Liu Xie spots a new threat drilling down from the cavern ceiling. A monstrous level 10 drill rat, an elite beast, bursts through the rock with a menacing shriek. The driver panics, suspecting this powerful creature is what weakened the other team before their ambush. The creature revs its drill-like body, preparing to launch a devastating spinning attack. Zhao Cheng shoves his companions to safety, taking charge as the monster lunges forward. He braces for impact, realizing this elite monster's power is nearly equal to the last dungeon boss he faced. Hidden in the shadows, another team of candidates recognizes the driver and plots their own sinister ambush. The drill rat unleashes a powerful energy attack, its monstrous form barely resembling its namesake. Liu Xie panics, questioning how such a terrifying beast could possibly be classified as a mere rat. Zhao Cheng deduces the ambushers used a brutal strategy, waiting for the monster to weaken their rivals first. He suspects the cunning killers are still lurking nearby, observing their every move from the darkness. Deciding to eliminate this hidden threat, Zhao Cheng resolves to deal with them before they can interfere with the boss fight. He formulates a plan to use the monster as bait, putting on a show to draw out the hidden assassins. His strategy is to feign injury, a cunning tactic his sister taught him for hunting dangerous prey in the wild. Liu Xie activates his own seal, preparing to support his friend by targeting the beast's weak points with precision. While the driver panics and urges a retreat, Liu Xie holds firm, placing his complete trust in Zhao Cheng's plan. Liu Xie's seal highlights the monster's weak point, guiding his aim for a critical shot. But Zhao Cheng carefully controls his power, needing to feign weakness to draw out the hidden assassins. He lands a calculated strike, deliberately exposing his flank to create a convincing opening. The plan works perfectly as the monster lands a seemingly brutal blow, sending him reeling. While the driver panics, Liu Xie unleashes a volley from his slingshot to draw the creature's attention. The projectiles pepper the beast's hide, but the minimal damage only serves to enrage it further. Distracted by the stinging shots, the monster turns its fury on the two supporting attackers. Its glowing red eyes lock onto Liu Xie and the driver, who now have the beast's undivided attention. The drill rat charges with terrifying speed, forcing the two men to scramble for their lives. Clutching his chest, Zhao Cheng shouts a warning, realizing his friend has fallen for the ruse and is now in grave danger. The drill rat looms over Liu Xie, who stands his ground, frustrated by his friend's uncharacteristic recklessness. Despite the beast's terrifying speed, Liu Xie's expression hardens with defiance, refusing to back down. The driver shoves his young companion to safety just as a powerful energy blast obliterates the spot where they stood. Scrambling on the ground, the driver berates Liu Xie for his suicidal bravery against a level 10 elite. Fueled by loyalty, Liu Xie rises to his feet, vowing to make the monster pay for harming his friend. He takes aim with his slingshot, his eyes burning with vengeful determination as the driver watches with concern. The hidden assassins watch as his shots land, noting the insignificant damage but admiring the team's life and death bond. Enraged by the stinging projectiles, the monster's horn crackles with power as its glowing eye narrows with fury. It unleashes another devastating spinning attack, hurtling directly towards the outmatched slingshot user. The terrified driver grabs Liu Xie and drags him away, narrowly escaping the beast's powerful strike. Liu Xie is stunned by the driver's incredible speed, realizing he's much faster than even Zhao Cheng. The driver reveals his true power, a level 10 with a gold attribute trait that grants him extreme agility. With newfound confidence, Liu Xie takes aim, telling the driver to act as his ride while he wears down the monster. The driver grins with determination, fully committed to their new kiting strategy. He unleashes a volley of shots, aiming to distract the powerful drill rat. The projectiles strike the beast, but the insignificant damage only infuriates it further. Seeing his friend's feigned injury, Liu Xie resolves to end the fight quickly, believing Zhao Cheng is in real danger. He desperately fumbles in his pouch, searching for more ammunition for his slingshot. His face falls as he realizes he's completely out of projectiles at the worst possible moment. Just then, A new figure leaps from the shadows, mocking the monster and preparing to join the fight. The newcomer confidently kicks a stone, deflecting the monster's attention with a surprisingly effective strike. But his bravado is short-lived as the enraged beast lunges, pinning the overconfident fighter to the ground. Realizing his mistake, the newcomer shouts a desperate warning for Zhao Cheng to flee, accepting their grim fate. But a blinding flash of fiery energy erupts from behind them, bisecting the charging monster in a single, overwhelming slash. With his ruse complete, Zhao Cheng stands over the defeated beast, his flaming blade confirming the kill. He turns to his stunned companions, explaining that since they stood their ground for him, he had to do the same for them.